Hey guys, tonight we're not setting sail with pirates. No sunburnt sailors, no suspicious maps, no parrots yelling insults in languages you don't speak. Nope. Tonight, we're stepping into something far greater, older, deeper, and more cosmic than any pirate legend ever dreamed of. The ultimate saga of prophets, from the very first moments of creation all the way to the final hour of Judgment Day. But before we begin this enormous journey, one that stretches across galaxies, centuries, civilizations, and enough miracles to make any 2 a.m. brain whisper, "Wait, what?" Take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. No pressure, no divine lightning strikes. This is a calm corner of the universe. And leave a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. Somehow it's always 2 a.m. somewhere. And honestly, stories about prophets and destiny hit different at 2 a.m. when the world is quiet and your mind is just awake enough to wonder how everything fits together. Now dim those lights. Turn on a fan for that soft, white noise breeze. Sink deeper into your pillows. Wrap yourself in blankets and maybe tuck your feet in. Not because imaginary rats are coming for your toes this time, but because we're traveling across thousands of years, and you deserve to be comfortable for the ride. Let's pause for a second. Have you ever wondered what the entire prophetic timeline looks like when you lay it out from beginning to end? Not just one prophet's story or a single moment, but the whole sweeping arc, from Adam's first breath to Noah's Ark scraping against a mountaintop, to Abraham's tests, to Moses parting the sea, to Jesus spreading compassion, to Muhammad receiving revelation in the quiet of a mountain cave. And beyond even that, the signs of the last day, the trumpet that silences the universe, and the moment all of creation stands together. Tonight, we're taking a calm, gentle journey through that timeline. We're not debating, we're not rushing. We're not diving into every detail like scholars in a library with too much coffee. We're drifting, softly, peacefully, through the story of guidance itself. We'll explore how humanity began its relationship with the divine, how prophets appeared when the world needed them most, how their messages echoed across empires and eras, the beautiful patterns found in their lives, and how all these stories connect like threads in one vast tapestry, stretching from the dawn of time to the final moment of existence. Imagine ancient landscapes, deserts glowing under early starlight, mountains holding secrets, seas parting with thunderous silence, crowds gathering to hear words that would outlive them all. Imagine prophets standing in moments of exhaustion, triumph, heartbreak, and revelation. Ordinary humans with extraordinary missions. Imagine the world changing again and again because wisdom arrived right when humanity needed it. So, settle in. Let your breath slow. Let your mind soften. Let the long arc of history unfold quietly before you. Tonight, we follow the prophets, not with fear, not with pressure, but with wonder. From creation to the final day to the mysteries beyond the veil of time. Ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. Creation of the Universe and the First Man. Before there was time, before the first second had its place or the first atom knew its purpose, there was only divine will, silent, complete, and sovereign over all possibility. In that unfathomable stillness, the command for creation was given, and the universe responded with breathtaking urgency. A celestial visualization begins to unfold. What was once an endless, undifferentiated expanse suddenly stirs, trembling with potential. Light bursts forth like 1,000 unfolding dawns. Stars ignite in brilliant streams, scattering across the newborn heavens as if flung by an unseen hand. Clusters of galaxies spiral into graceful motion, each one spinning with perfect harmony, each drawing its place in the vast, cosmic tapestry. Planets take shape from swirling clouds of dust and molten stone, cooling slowly into spheres of land, oceans, and sky. Gravity settles the foundations of worlds. The heavens stretch outward, expanding into a universe filled with motion, purpose, and divine design. From the smallest grain of cosmic dust to the brightest, roaring star, everything forms by decree, not randomly, not blindly, but with exact intention. The universe is no longer empty. It is alive. And at the heart of this immense creation, on a small and quiet world, something extraordinary is prepared, a being unlike anything that has existed before. The scene softens, shifting from cosmic grandeur to the gentle earthiness of clay and soil. In a tranquil valley, the ground glows with a warm, sacred light. From this clay, simple yet chosen, humble yet honored, the form of the first man begins to emerge. His shape is molded with deliberate care, every contour infused with purpose. The creation is not rushed. It unfolds with patient precision, as if the entire universe pauses to witness this singular moment. The clay form rests silently, still and perfect in shape, yet waiting for something more, something beyond physical structure. For the first man is not meant to be merely a creature of flesh, but a being of understanding, responsibility, and spirit. Then comes the moment that transforms existence. A luminous breath, pure, radiant, and immeasurably gentle, descends upon the clay. It is a breath not bound by air, not limited by form, but filled with divine command and mercy. As it enters the body, the clay shifts. Color warms the limbs. Stillness becomes movement. Silence becomes awareness. The first man, Adam, opens his eyes, not with haste or fear, but with peaceful recognition, as though his spirit understands instantly the majesty of the one who shaped him. The luminous spirit that fills him carries reason, perception, and the capacity to know right from wrong. He is not just alive, he is conscious, a trustee of creation, a being meant to learn, to choose, to remember, and to reflect divine guidance throughout his earthly journey. Around him, the world brightens. Winds stir gently through leaves. Water glistens along the edges of streams. Animals move with quiet curiosity. All creation seems to welcome this new arrival, the first human whose presence marks the beginning of a story stretching across centuries, nations, and revelations. Adam stands in awe, not of himself, but of the one who granted him life, purpose, and a place within the universe's immense design. His creation is the opening chapter of a saga that will unfold through countless generations, carried by prophets and guided by revelation, from the dawn of humanity to the final hour. In this celestial scene, both the universe and the first human rise from divine will, the cosmos shaped in majestic bursts of light, and Adam shaped gently from earth, awakened by a luminous spirit that lifts him above instinct into reason and worship. A reminder that creation itself is a tapestry woven with intention, vast in scope, intimate in detail, and guided at every stage by the one who spoke it into being. Chapter 2. The Day of Judgment. Salam alaikum, beloved dreamers. Gather around and dim the lights, because tonight we are diving into something more profound than a philosophy book written by your overly enthusiastic college professor. We're about to explore the Day of Judgment, a day so pivotal that it would make your most chaotic family gathering feel like a picnic in the park. At least, everyone knows the burgers are coming. Now, while you settle into your comfy blankets, let's consider a few questions about this monumental occasion. Have you ever wondered what the check-in process looks like for a divine judgment? Will there be punch and cookies? Or is it more like being in line at the DMV, where you can't help but contemplate your life choices? Imagine standing there with your name tag saying, "Hello, my name is Ali, and I did what?" And just picture it. You wake up on that fateful day, and it's less sunshine and rainbows and more like a vast, transformed plain, devoid of landmarks, where all of humanity stands shoulder to shoulder. You might be asking yourself, Didn't anybody think to bring snacks? Reality check, though. This is the day of judgment. Snacks are strictly prohibited, except for those godly dates you stored in your secret pocket, just in case. As the scene unfolds, the atmosphere is thick with a mixture of anticipation and sweaty palms. It's like being at a concert where your favorite band is about to come on, but instead, you're just staring at some intimidating scales of justice. They stand ready, gleaming under a brightly illuminated sky, holding the weight of your every action, thought, and perhaps that time you accidentally sent an unflattering selfie to your boss instead of your friend. Oops. Imagine the sound of your heartbeat thudding in your ears like a drummer who took one too many energy drinks. You glance around at your neighbors. Some you recognize, familiar faces from the here and now, while others seem like distant relatives you met once during that awkward family reunion. Wasn't she wearing a pineapple hat? You think as you awkwardly avoid eye contact. And who's that over there? It's your neighbor, Mr. Johnson. You remember him complaining when his lawnmower got too loud while you were trying to binge-watch that reality show. I can't believe I'm sharing this moment with him, you think. But let's be real, you're hardly in a position to judge. The sun hangs low, casting deep shadows as the scales of justice hover in the air, adorned with glimmers of golden light. With a flick of your wrist, or was it something more divine? The unseen guide beckons you closer. And just when you think some celestial choir is going to kick into an uplifting tune, a declaration rings through the air. "Step forward, O souls," bellows a voice that resonates through every fiber of your being. "Your deeds will be weighed today." No pressure, right? You watch. As others step forward, some confidently, wearing expressions of serenity that make you second-guess every single meh decision you've made in your life. The tension is thicker than the plot of an overly dramatic soap opera. Every soul is unique, marked by the choices they've made, much like a collection of quirky coffee mugs, some with warm, loving memories, and others with cringe-worthy designs that scream, "Why did I buy this?" And then, it's your turn. You step onto the scale, feeling lighter than you have in years, until it suddenly hits you. This is it. In the seconds that stretch like an eternity, you reflect on the countless moments that brought you here. Joy, laughter, mishaps, and even those regrettable late-night taco runs that, let's be honest, didn't end well. The scale tips to the side. "Whoa there, Isabella," you exclaim, half laughing and half worrying if there's a divine scale reading for Uber Eats orders. "Just give me a moment. Let me defend my taco habits." But do the heavenly beings care? They remain stoic, their expressions as calm as a cat napping in a sunbeam. Suddenly, a cloud of tranquility envelops you, and amidst the cacophony of whispers and gasps, you feel an overwhelming sense of peace wash over you. You finally grasp that this moment, while monumental, is nothing more than the culmination of your life's narrative. Good or bad, this is your story. And every moment is an essential piece of a divine puzzle you won't fully grasp until the pages of life turn. As the final verdict approaches, laughter and tears intertwine, a bizarre cocktail of emotions flowing like a river that leads to eternity. In this glorious yet somber arena, you are overcome by deep reflections, pondering not only your life, but the experiences shared by all those around you. "Remember that time we tried to barbecue in the rain?" you whisper to yourself, bursting into a fit of nervous giggles. "Well, at least I shouldn't need a chef hat for this judgment. What do you think happens next? Ice cream for eternity?" You catch yourself thinking as you shift nervously on the scales. And with that, the celestial scales reach a verdict, and your soul takes a collective sigh of relief. What you've realized is not just the weight of actions on that scale, but the lightness of understanding what it means to share life with others, to be human, flawed, and yet, oh so unique. Cherish these moments, even with the impending destiny looming above you. Because whether you're soaring high above the celestial realms, or trying to figure out how to avoid scrolling too far down your social media feed, the essence remains the same. Be present and cherish every heartbeat until that final scale speaks your name. Returning from this vision of judgment, may you harbor an appreciation for life's unpredictability, knowing that you are writing your story with every breath. And may your heart always find solace in the beautiful absurdities that bind humanity together. As we conclude this surreal journey, remember, dear dreamers, that while the Day of Judgment is serious business, it's also an opportunity to reflect, laugh, and appreciate the full spectrum of your humanity. May you drift into your dreams with a healthy dose of humor and gratitude, knowing that, in the end, every scale just might balance out. After all, we're all just trying to figure out if the taco lovers go to heaven. Sweet dreams, and may you wake with hearts full of hope and scales tipped in favor of kindness and love. Chapter 3. The Garden of Defiance. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Welcome back to another captivating episode, just when you thought you were completely out of luck with your sleep schedule. Tonight, we embark on a narrative journey as crisp and vibrant as a fresh mint tea under a Saudi sun. Our tale unfolds in a lush, otherworldly garden, kind of like a trip to your relative's house, but without the prying questions about when you're getting married. If you find yourself entertained, we humbly encourage you to like, subscribe, and perhaps even comment your favorite part, but only if you genuinely enjoy this. You know, no pressure, like that one time your workplace had a mandatory fun day. Now, as you dim the lights and cozy up, let's imagine a kaleidoscope of colors filling your senses. Picture yourself in a garden more stunning than any Instagram filter can capture, where vibrant flowers bloom like your auntie's cousin who just won a Best Homemade Dish contest. Bright, loud, and filled with overwhelming pride. But amidst all this beauty, have you ever considered how it would feel to be a majestic angel holding the first human creation in reverent awe? Or perhaps you've wondered how Iblis, the self-proclaimed genius, thinks it's a smart idea to argue with the divine. You know how it is, kind of like talking back to your mom when you just know you're going to get an earful. Congratulations, you've just woken up in the lush, verdant Garden of Eden, the serene place of beginnings, where angels are busy bowing in submission, and a certain fiery figure named Iblis is on the verge of losing his heavenly job over his industrial-sized ego. As you step deeper into this mystical realm, the air is rich with scents of jasmine and sandalwood. The gentle rustle of golden leaves is punctuated by melodious birdsong that could put a Spotify playlist to shame. Close your eyes and hear the whispers of the trees. I am alive. No, I'm more alive than you might think. It's delightful, really. Let's talk about this bending knee bit. The angels, oh, those majestic entities, bowing in pure devotion, glimmer like shimmering stars. Picture them forming a celestial dance, graceful yet powerfully structured, each arch of their wing a divine testament to a command being executed. As they lean in unison, it's as though the universe itself has choreographed this beautiful performance, right? But then, cue the dramatic twist. Enter Iblis, the reluctant rebel, the self-titled greatest of all time, who thinks humility is overrated. Imagine him standing in the corner with an expression of indignation that would make a toddler throw a tantrum over not getting his favorite toy. "Why should I bow to this mere clay figure?" he scoffs, his voice dripping with the kind of arrogance one might exhibit after binge-watching motivational videos and forgetting a crucial detail: that humility is obviously the key to success. "I was made from fire, and he from clay," he bellows, sounding like someone who's just tasted the disappointment of realizing the delicious cake was a lie. Who does a clay being think he is? As the angels fulfill the divine command, their spirits radiate beauty, as if the stars themselves have come down to join the celebration. Iblis, however, is consumed by the fiery winds of arrogance, a living embodiment of pride that's more overcooked than your uncle's famous biryani. You can't help but chuckle at the absurdity. Ever found yourself arguing with someone over the last slice of pizza? Just like Iblis, your reasoning often falls into the pit of, "Why should I share? I deserve it more." No matter the situation, human emotions have a way of linking us back to the fiery defiance of Iblis. Now, picture the moment of his defiance. He's practically the protester, arms crossed, the ultimate party crasher shouting, "Not today, Clay Man!" It is a pivotal instance, the very first act of defiance that ripples through time. As you observe the angels humble in compliance, you also can't help but relate it to all those times you've seen someone come face to face with their fate. Like when a cat suddenly realizes it has been spotted sneaking through the lettuce patch. You glance over to the angels, serene in their obedience, silently explaining the essence of faith, bending, yielding, flourishing in submission to the Creator. Iblis, however, flares with righteous indignation, like a firework misfiring at a family reunion. Imagine sitting around a table filled with relatives who all seem smarter than you. You might feel like Iblis, questioning your worth in this great cosmic scheme, only to realize that the divine plan encompasses all, making that descent into grievance utterly ridiculous. As the scene unfolds in this serene garden, you can't help but think that this is just the beginning. Every act of defiance tends to ripple out, birthing waves of consequences we often forget. Iblis may have thought he was doing a grand service to himself, but didn't realize he was opening Pandora's box for humanity itself. The ground beneath you, soft yet firm, cradles the weight of these celestial decisions. And as you drift into a peaceful sleep amidst this vibrant tapestry of divine drama, remember, it's okay to ask questions, seek understanding, and confront your pride. Just try not to do it while standing in the presence of the Almighty. Wrap your thoughts around this. As we explore the corridors of fate and free will, you'd find that the Garden of Eden is not just a story, but a reflection of our very beings. Maybe next time you feel like throwing your hands up in frustration, remember Iblis had his own time in the spotlight, and how that worked out for him. So let yourself drift off into the night, cradled by these thoughts of obedience, defiance, and a sprinkle of humor that life has to offer. Sleep well, dear listener, and may your dreams be as colorful as that vibrant garden. This immersive script combines humor, vivid imagery, and a touch of the divine, perfectly designed to soothe you to sleep while fostering an enriching connection with the story of Iblis and the angels. I hope you found this delightful. Let me know if you would like to proceed with the next segment or adjust anything. Chapter 4. The Forbidden Orchard. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight we venture into a realm filled with so much beauty, you might just assume you've stumbled upon a fancy vacation resort, complete with complimentary towels and questionable breakfast choices. Imagine a place where nature paints a masterpiece using every color of the rainbow. A garden so enchanting that even the most stoic of us might find ourselves misty-eyed, wondering if our own abodes could ever compete. But before you hit that like button, let me gently remind you, this is not your regular garden party. Nope, this is the Garden of Eden. So grab your virtual passport because we're about to jump into the most significant chapter of humanity, full of delight, temptation, and a sprinkling of hilarity that could only make sense in divine comedy. First, let's get the imagination flowing. Picture lush trees, their vibrant leaves swaying in unison like a dance floor filled with ecstatic wedding guests, albeit guests that have no worries about the DJ playing off-key. Ah, and the scents. The air is rich and intoxicating. Think vanilla mixed with a hint of citrus, a dash of fresh earth, and the faintest whisper of mystical jasmine. You wish you could bottle it and sell it at your local market, don't you? Here's a delightful scent to overwhelm your senses. $29.99. In this paradise, every corner reveals another wonder. Rivers flow with sparkling waters, fancier than your local spa's hot tub, and fruits hang low, ripe for the picking, radiating colors that would make a rainbow feel underdressed. Just imagine biting into a piece of fruit so fresh it practically sings, welcome to the Garden of Eden, satisfaction guaranteed, or your eternal paradise back. Now that we've set the stage for this Edenic playground, let's introduce our main players, shall we? Meet Adam and Hawa, Eve. Oh, they're living the high life, aren't they? Not a care in the world, beyond deciding which fruit to savor for breakfast. It's like endless brunch without the mimosas, but all the healthy goodies abound. Organic, non-GMO bananas, and all the avocado toast one could want. But here's the catch. Towering centrally amidst all this bliss is a tree darker than your neighbor's fruitcake recipe, known only as the forbidden tree. Imagine a dark, twisty tree, standing taller than any other, its branches almost beckoning with a seductive, "Come and taste the temptation." It's the kind of tree that would definitely ace the role of a villain in any animated movie. You almost get the feeling it has its own fan club, filled with Iblis at the helm, perhaps holding clandestine meetings to plot against our unsuspecting couple. Now, you'd think the story would skip straight to Adam and Hawa munching on whatever they want like carefree quests on a culinary journey. But oh no. The existence of this tree is like the proverbial "don't press the red button" of the divine universe. Talk about a cosmic joke. Imagine being told, "Look, everything is yours, all fruits, all delights, except for that one tree." You'd probably be thinking, really? Just one? That's so unfair. It's the classic case of "I want what I can't have," elevated to divine proportions. Life in this garden is a tantalizing buffet where the one off-limits item becomes the centerpiece of suspicion, intrigue, and downright comedy. As the sun rises higher, casting enchanting patterns across this garden, Adam catches sight of the tree. Cue the dramatic music. You know that inner dialogue people have when they see a delicious dessert sitting on their coworker's desk? Do I? Or don't I? Well, in our case, it's amplified. The allure of the forbidden tree almost hints at a secret club where only the bold and defiant are welcomed. Why is it forbidden, you might ask? Every part of you cries out for a taste. Maybe it gives eternal wisdom or double avocado toast for life. But the whispers of the universe echo gently, reminding that sometimes the most tempting things are the ones that come with a hefty price tag. And then it happens. Iblis, our pretentious troublemaker, sauntering around like he owns the place, launches his smooth campaign of persuasion. He's like the ultimate temptation dealer, equipped with nothing but sly words and flashy advertisements. Psst, hey Adam, you're missing out. That tree? Full of untold goodies. Knowledge, wisdom, everything you've ever wanted. You can almost hear the sinister giggles in the background. Is this a joke? You ponder. As Adam hesitates, a comedic thought bubbles up. Do I trust this heavily opinionated serpent that might have spent too much time contemplating worldly affairs? The tension is palpable, the comedic irony rich with the realization that this tale will layer itself with consequences deeper than the mystery of why your local grocery store only stocks that brand of tofu. And as you lay back in comfort, lulled by the vivid imagery of tantalizing fruits and the melodrama of ultimate choice, remember, even in paradise, temptation runs deeper than just beautiful visuals. Adam and Hawa's story reflects our own struggles with desires, choices, and the everlasting comedic irony of life, and one curled tree that would create an epic plot twist no one saw coming. As twilight descends over this idyllic scene, breathe deeply and let this whimsical journey cradle you into a serene sleep, where the echoes of choice, temptation, and the whimsy of paradise play gently in your dreams. Just remember, next time temptation knocks at your door, consider the choices of our beloved pair and wonder, what's in that forbidden tree? Sleep well, dear listener, and may your dreams be as delicious as that tempting fruit, without any of the consequences. Chapter 5. The Temptation of Shadows. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Welcome back to our cozy storytelling corner, where tonight we take a delightful detour into a very relatable struggle, one that just might remind you of your last attempt to resist a dozen donuts in a poorly lit bakery. Yes, tonight we find ourselves in an oh-so-enchanting place, the Garden of Eden. But hold on to your wraps. The vibe here is about to shift from serene stillness to a whirlwind of seductive whispers, courtesy of our charmingly troublesome character, Iblis. Now let's set the mood. Dim the lights, find your ultimate snuggle blanket, and grab that one ridiculously oversized pillow. You know the one. Tonight, you'll embark on a journey where temptation will tango with our first beloved couple, Adam and Hawa. And if you're wondering if they're as perfect as a Pinterest couple's retreat, well, hold your applause, because we're about to dive into a plot twist of cosmic proportions. So, have you ever found yourself standing in front of a delicious dessert display, pondering if perhaps this time your willpower will actually make it through? Just one bite, you convince yourself, and I'll be fine. Well, our enchanting Adam and Hawa are facing an equivalent dilemma, but here, in the most breathtaking of gardens, that one forbidden fruit is beckoning to them like an extravagant neon sign at a hidden speakeasy, equally alluring and forbidden. Picture this. The skies are painted in hues of lavender and cornflower blue. Sunlight trickles down like warm honey, and the gentle rustle of leaves serenades the air with whispers. In this delightful paradise, the fruits hang low, their colors so vibrant they could convince even the most seasoned Instagrammer that filters are for novices. Hawa spins around, eyeing the fruits with childlike wonder, while Adam can only nod in agreement, delightfully oblivious, until enter Iblis, the ultimate master of disguise. He slinks in like a stray cat at your barbecue, all shadows and sparkly eyes. Seriously, not even cats can pull off that level of sneak. As he approaches our unsuspecting duo, you can almost hear him practicing his lines, like a cartoon villain with a flair for drama. "Psst, hey, you two," he hisses, his voice as slippery as a spilled smoothie. "Why limit yourselves to the delightful fruits of this garden when that tempting little tree over there holds the secret to, well, everything? Ever thought about knowing everything there is to know?" Cue the dramatic music. Imagine the thoughts racing through Hawa's mind. Eternal wisdom? My grocery shopping skills could use an upgrade. And Adam, bless him, is left gazing up at the forbidden tree as if contemplating the meaning of life, or just pondering his next snack. But let's not overlook the comedic irony here. Iblis, with all his shadowy charm, practically has a glowing HR sign on his forehead that screams, "Trust me, I'm reliable." But come on, this is the guy who's practically a walking warning sign. Yet here lies the human dilemma. Why do we so often want what we can't have? Now, as the scenes set in this garden shift like a playful breeze, imagine the scents wafting through the air. Oh, the aromas. Fresh citrus, mint, and something pleasantly mysterious. The kind of fragrance that makes you question why your own kitchen always smells like burnt toast. Hawa, channeling every ounce of curiosity, looks at Adam, bubbling with excitement and trepidation, a look that says, "Are we really about to walk into a sitcom moment?" And just like that, the atmosphere thickens, charged with a question that hangs there like an awkward family photo. What if this tree really gives us wisdom? And not just like how to remove cat hair from everything, but the actual keys to the universe. Iblis, ever so smoothly, nudges an unspoken impulse, whispering, "You know you want it." With every sarcastically crafted word, you can almost feel the tension in the air. Picture Adam drumming his fingers, staring at Hawa, who is now wide-eyed, caught between the allure of that luscious fruit and the archaic warning buzzing through her mind. It's like standing on the edge of a diving board, peering into the deep end, totally forgetting how to float. This epic moment escalates. The whispers, shadows, and fragrant distractions mesh into a legitimate cosmic comic scene. The comedic absurdity heightens as Adam finds himself wrestling internally, wondering if he'll forever question his decision to eat an avocado toast or embrace something far more forbidden. Oh dear, you might chuckle, thinking, watching Adam navigate this urge is just like witnessing a child at a candy store with an empty pocket. It's an adorable disaster waiting to happen. And that, my friends, is how easily temptation wiggles its way into our hearts. And so, under the golden glow of the sun, amid an orchestra of rustling leaves and whispered promises of eternal life, Hawa finally casts her decision. With a grin that could rival the Cheshire Cat, she steps forward, and before you know it, that forbidden fruit is finding its happy way between their fingers, a tantalizing leap into the unknown. As you cradle into your cozy spot, let the images of lush gardens, whispering secrets, and delectable fruits fill your dreams. Remember, even in moments of temptation, laughter and human nature dance side by side. Never forget the intertwined comedy of choices we face, even when cosmic destinies collide. Sleep now, dear listener, dreaming of fruits that maybe hold the key to wisdom. But let's keep Iblis at arm's length, shall we? Sweet dreams await, and when morning comes, remember that even the simplest choices can be delightfully absurd. Enjoy the ride.
Chapter 6. The Dawn of Humanity. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight, we tiptoe into a narrative as profound as your last attempt at assembling IKEA furniture, and just as mind-boggling. We're leaving our comfortable, cozy nook to hang out with our first parents, Adam and Hawa, who just got a bit of an unexpected wake-up call. Picture them, fresh from a celestial vacation in paradise, but with their all-inclusive package now revoked. How do you even unpack that, right? Now, grab that puffiest pillow, a warm blanket that envelops you like a gentle hug, and dim those lights as low as your willpower at a buffet. Let's get comfy before we dive into the lush details of the dawn of humanity. Perhaps you've painted a picture of yourselves in the Garden of Eden, surrounded by blissful greenery. But have you ever wondered why parents always seem to think they know better? Like that time your mom insisted on checking the GPS when you were clearly heading to the right festival, when all the while your internal compass is calibrated by YouTube tutorials. Or maybe you've pondered, what if Adam had just thought to ask for directions? Spoiler alert, he didn't. Congratulations, you've just woken up in a freshly shaped earth, like your favorite cookies right out of the oven. But instead of the iridescent glow of a picturesque morning, you're greeted by dirt, unkempt weeds, and the soft sound of bird hoo-hoops signaling the lack of decor. Now, let's dig a little deeper, quite literally, in fact. Adam and Hawa, souls still tinged with the remaining spark of divine essence, glance around their rugged surroundings, all while donning the latest fashion line. Draped leaves that, truth be told, would have never made it to any runway show. Too green, too haphazard, a fashion faux pas of monumental proportions. And let's be honest, nudity was cool and all in the garden, but now that the fig leaves are tightly wrapped around them, it's like they're in a reality show of struggle. Who will survive the wilderness? Think of it as a nature documentary, but with dramatic music and scantily clad protagonists fumbling around. As they survey their new abode, dirt roads and all, it dawns on them. Okay, we need to hustle. How do we survive this place? Imagine Adam armed with nothing but a hint of charisma, while Hawa is already on Pinterest, crafting how to survive the wilderness mood boards. Forest decor? Check. Foraging for snacks? Check. It's a delightful display of earthy ingenuity, like a dreamy mix of homesteading and amateur foraging. Let's talk about food for a second. Adam glances at Hawa as her stomach growls like a disgruntled lion. Yes, it's that serious. They scavenge about, looking for something, anything, that fits their newfound, very unglamorous survival technique. It's as chaotic as finding snacks at the bottom of a grocery bag, when all you've really spotted are random assortments of expired condiments. How about this? He ventures, holding up a plant that suspiciously resembles a weed. I'm pretty sure this isn't on any cooking show. But Hawa, channeling her inner divine chef, snaps back with a playful smirk. Well, we can't exactly raid the local gourmet deli, can we? Let's poke around a bit. With each passing moment, they grapple with their lush yet challenging environment. 1 minute romancing the idea of building a cozy den, the next minute mumbling about the impracticality of using thorny vines as decoration. Fast forward a bit. The majestic sun dips beneath the horizon as shadows loom larger and larger. The forest vibrates with an almost comedic vibrancy, a cacophony of sounds serenading the couple. What's that? Adam asks as a rustling noise escapes from behind a nearby bush. Probably a squirrel auditioning for a role in Squirrels of the Jungle, only to find out, oh dear, it's just a scared rabbit playing hide and seek. Quite the edge of your seat moment, right? As darkness sets in, they ponder the riddles of existence. Adam scratches his head, scratching more than his beard as he contemplates, what do we do now? Hawa, with that sparkle in her eye, nudges him forward. You know, maybe we should build the world's first couch. All the comforts of home in just a few easy steps. The comedic absurdity thickens as they shuffle through the growing shadows, trying to find their footing, and each other. And in these formative moments, we realize that humanity is not just born from a singular moment of creation, but is woven from laughter, miscalculated puns, and those overspill comedic situations that we often find ourselves in. The oops moments of sweet existence. So, as you drift off to sleep, dear friends, may your dreams be filled with imaginary couches in the wilderness, whimsical outfits made from leaves, and the comforting realization that even the most momentous beginnings are often quite silly. After all, if Adam and Hawa can get lost in the wilderness and still crack jokes, we certainly can navigate our own little adventures with a wink and a smile, right? Sweet dreams await, and remember, sometimes the best type of journey starts with a little chaos. Chapter 7. The City of Shadows. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Get ready for a tale more thrilling than your last attempt at assembling a jigsaw puzzle with a missing piece. Tonight we find ourselves in an ancient city, one that's dimmer than your favorite cafe during a power outage. And we're not talking about the ambience. Picture this: a sprawling metropolis, bustling with activity, but lacking a serious moral compass. And for some reason, everyone seems to have traded their divine wisdom for more elaborate, throne-like idols made of stone. Yes, folks, they've managed to forget the guidance of Adam, the very first prophet who taught them about pure monotheism. Now, if you're ready for a bit of mental cardio, lean in close. Imagine walking down the streets where, instead of lofty aspirations, you find people more committed to polishing their peculiar statues than to polishing their hearts. Are you chuckling yet? Rightly so. I mean, have you ever found yourself more interested in picking the perfect Snapchat filter than in a righteous deed? Don't worry, we all have. So, dim the lights, get your snacks at the ready, and swipe that phone to Do Not Disturb. Let's paint a picture of life in a time when moral guidelines were swapped for graven images that look like they survived an art failure. What kind of peculiar items were people convinced would help them level up in life? Be sure to think of those baffling infomercials that promise to change your life, like that blender that slices and dices, but also claims to make your breakfast burrito. Just how effective are they, really? Congratulations! You've just woken up in the ancient city of Mecca, around 610 CE, a place where towering idols cast long shadows like your to-do list after an all-nighter binge-watching your favorite show. The aroma of fragrant spices mingles with the stench of neglect, and you can almost hear the ruckus of bustling crowds as they swarm around their beloved idols, each one competing to outshine the other like your friends on social media.
Imagine yourself as a curious observer in this tangled web of beliefs. You stroll through the marketplace, listening to the chatter and laughter, infused with the occasional dramatic lament of those who just had their dietary choices judged by someone who's definitely failing at their own healthy resolutions. "Oh no, not the lentils again," you hear someone groan. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Isn't it fascinating how some things never change? The passion for worship is palpable, yet the objects of their fervor stand colder than an abandoned pizza left in the fridge after a long night out. These idols, crafted with more care than a mother lovingly preparing for a family dinner, absolutely do not deliver the divine guidance woven into every fiber of existence by Allah. Have you ever had that experience tapping your favorite app only to find it glitching? That's exactly how this situation
feels: frustrating, futile, and entirely avoidable. As you magisterially float down the streets, you spot the grand idol of Hubal, strikingly larger than most of the others. But here's the kicker. Despite its height, it cannot help you find your misplaced car keys or solve your existential dread. Just think of hubris as a massive, decorative brick wall that everyone's decided is a masterpiece, but most just want to throw a pillow at. Meanwhile, in hidden corners of the city, whispered conversations flutter like startled birds. "Have you heard of the teachings of one God?" someone asks. "One God?" another replies, completely flabbergasted, as if you just suggested swapping coffee for herbal tea. "What's that?" And here comes the comedic twist. These idols, dependable as a broken business venture, are supposed to provide some form of guidance or protection. I mean, really, who could believe that something made of stone could address your heartbreak over a failed investment or the missed opportunity at your dream job? To the folks here, the idea of a single God, the very presence of peace and purpose, is as foreign as asking your cat to perform tricks. People, utterly enraptured by frivolities, abandon their true essence in exchange for feigned allegiance to these superstar idols. They even throw wild parties for the most extravagant of them, like it's an unmissable concert. Suddenly, as you wander through this vibrant bubble, you stumble upon a humble, wise soul, clad in simple garments and with eyes that seem to glimmer with divine insight. This is none other than the whispering shadows of Adam hovering in spiritual relief, trying to break through the waves of ignorance with the timeless message of peace and oneness. Hey there, friend. While you're at it, why not honor the one who created all that you see, rather than this hodgepodge of misfits? You nod, reluctant to agree, remembering all those times at work when you silently wished a bean burrito would magically transform into a gourmet meal through sheer willpower. Yet, the clear truth lingers, gently nudging you to ponder the greater purpose. This curious moment began to spark thoughts about one's true calling versus falling prey to public trends. Amid this bewildering backdrop, the spirits of hope and despair dance in harmony, a cosmic play of choices like an unbalanced yoga routine. Here's the wild part. What if, somewhere amid the chaos, someone would rise up and challenge the status quo? Can you picture it? What's that new worker with the dreamy ideas going to say in a meeting filled with grouchy idols of conformity? As the sun sets, it casts elongated shadows of these idols upon the cobblestones, a reminder, perhaps, that as tangible as these statues seem, they will inevitably crumble, much like that popcorn ceiling you keep threatening to get rid of but never do. And in this simple truth lies the essence of what's to come. A dawning of enlightenment that envelops the city. So snuggle in your blankets, dear friends, and allow this humor-laden tapestry of moral confusion to drift into your dreams. Reflect on the duality of existence, both shadows and illumination, and remember, even in the oldest tales, the journey of truth amid confusion can still bring chuckles and sweet insights. As you let the night cradle your weary soul, let this chapter remind you that amidst the chaotic paths, you too can help unveil the divine presence that slipped through the cracks long ago. Sweet dreams await, And remember, life is a series of choices, even if you once thought serving popcorn in an art review was a good idea. All right, let's slip into slumber and imagine a world of clarity in the twilight of confusion. Chapter 8. Noah's Ark, Building Faith in Stormy Waters. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Get ready for a journey so wild it makes your last trip to IKEA seem like a leisurely stroll through a Zen garden. Tonight, we dive into the life of Prophet Noah, a man whose experience with construction evokes more admiration than your uncle's ill-fated attempts at DIY. Imagine, for a moment, being tossed into an era so filled with skeptics that they could start an award-winning reality show entitled Most Creative Mocking. Under a sky more oppressive than a bad haircut, Noah and his small band of loyal followers are busy constructing a magnificent ark. Picture the scene. A massive, rough-hewn wooden vessel rises against the backdrop of a mocking crowd, filled with laughter that could rival a sitcom. The very people you would expect to encourage innovation have instead opted for the role of Mocking Jay, inspired by their disdain for any semblance of faith in the unseen. But let's pause for a moment. Ever found yourself trying to assemble something complicated, feeling more confused than a cat at a dog show? Well, Noah felt much the same way amidst the chaos of his endeavors. Imagine standing there, hammer in hand, as a crowd of naysayers rolls their eyes, snickering about how Noah is single-handedly taking the term crazy cat lady to a new level, only with an ark instead of felines. The smell of cedar wafts through the air, blending with the faint currents of skepticism that linger like an unwanted perfume. As Noah hammers away, let's imagine what kind of absurd conversations are happening around him. Have you seen that guy? What's he even building? A giant boat? For a zoo? Mocking laughter dances through the air, underscoring a very different narrative than the one Noah envisioned. Do you ever find yourself in a similar position, building something that others can't quite understand? Perhaps it's a side hustle, or even your new health food obsession. What do you mean you're eating kale chips instead of potato chips? They ask, raising eyebrows that could compete with the arch of the Eiffel Tower. Or when you tell people your next step is taking up yoga, they look at you like you just announced a career change to professional origami artist. Now, let's glide back to our picture-perfect setting. The ark stands mighty before them, weathered planks forming a sanctuary against the proverbial storm. Fully aware that skepticism thrives in those who have little understanding, Noah winks at his loyal followers, who labor with him, faces stained with sweat but illuminated by faith. Imagine their little community, reminiscent of a family gathering where everyone joins in, exchanging the latest gossip about neighbors while assembling what could only be described as a floating zoo. Hey, have you heard what they said about our ark? Next, they'll claim we're building a new cruise line to rival the Titans. Banter rolls on, light yet buoyant, like a feather caught in a gentle breeze. On one hand, you have the ark, this colossal structure representing Noah's unwavering faith. On the other, you have an audience so entrenched in their disbelief that they could host a debate entitled, "Why Faith is for Fools." Every hammer strike echoes the steadfast truth that deeper waters are coming, while laughter rings out like a mismatched drumbeat, mocking and taunting. But here lies the irony. Isn't it funny how the skeptics, the naysayers, are often the loudest voices when it comes to challenging faith and ambition? Wonder who those folks would be betting on in a horse race, a tortoise or a hare? As you visualize the chaotic marketplace surrounding the construction site, imagine the whispers swirling like autumn leaves, tickling your ears with half-baked detractions. "He's lost it," they declare, shaking heads faster than washing machines on spin cycle. Who in their right mind would build a giant boat in a desert? Does he think he's getting into the cruise liner business? Finally, we arrive at a scene where the sun begins to set, painting the sky in hues of gold and deep crimson. Moments like these lead you to ponder. How often do we allow others' doubts to shackle our own ambitions? As Noah stands there, sweat running down his back, the sparkle in his eyes defies the clouds hanging heavy with gloom. "Keep going, my friends," he bellows, Each peg, each plank we secure builds not just this vessel, but our future. Perhaps it's a reminder that our paths don't always follow a straight line, much like deciphering IKEA instructions after a long day at work. Sometimes we grapple with chaos and confusion, yet deep down, our hearts know the purpose we strive for. As the night falls, the laughter of the skeptics fades into echoes, leaving only a faint memory. Under the watchful eyes of the stars, the Ark stands as a tribute to the steadfast spirit of belief, fortifying the faithful against all odds. Who would have thought that amidst such absurdity, something pivotal would rise instead of fall? Let the wooden beams of Noah's Ark serve as guardians of your dreams, reminding you always to build, even if it feels as precarious as balancing your morning coffee on a stack of paperwork while running late. As you settle into sweet slumber, may you carry with you the wisdom that faith, unlike the latest fashion trend, never goes out of style. After all, who wouldn't embrace a divine mandate over opinions of the uninspired? Rest easy, dear friends, letting dreams bubble up in your mind like the floodwaters to come. And remember, with faith, even the wildest ambitions can weather any storm. Chapter 9. The Ark Amidst the Deluge. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight, we're diving into something wetter than a fish trying to avoid getting into water. The story of Prophet Noah and his Ark. Can you imagine being asked to build a massive boat when everyone around you thinks you're one step away from a full-blown midlife crisis? Hey there, Noah. Why not just take up knitting instead? Before we launch this nautical adventure, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever tried to convince your friends about a new fad diet, only to have them look at you as though you suggested eating cardboard instead of kale? Or have you found yourself standing in a torrential downpour, wondering if everyone else is secretly enjoying some grand fiesta, while you're stuck in your living room, questioning why you ever decided to wear yellow rain boots? Tonight, you'll experience the deluge like never before. Each drop hitting the ground feels like it's mocking Noah's determination. Just imagine the scene. Torrents of rain falling from a sky darker than the bottom of an abandoned well, as violent waters cascade upwards from the ground. Buckle your seatbelts, because this ride is about to get wobbly. Congratulations, you've just woken up in 610 CE, surrounded by a cacophony of chaos, right at the dawn of the early Islamic period. The world is a whirlwind of skepticism, laughter, and, oh yes, impending doom. All around you, people are bustling about, heads shaking, fingers pointing, like a live-action episode of Lost. And here stands Noah, a beacon of faith, valiantly working on what appears to be the construction project of the century, an enormous ark that might just be the world's most oversized pet carrier. Let's walk around a bit, shall we? What do you smell? The distinct scent of wet cedar wafting through the air, coupled with the pungent aroma of disbelief, is almost intoxicating. As Noah hammers away, you can hear the whispers and chuckles from the local populace, who seem far less interested in his wooden contraption than in the next gossip circuit. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could construct an ark? Is the iterative tale washing over the waves of skepticism. Perhaps you'll stumble upon a particularly cynical member of the crowd, his belly shaking with laughter as he exchanges quips with a friend about Noah's ambitious plans. What does he think this is? A floating cruise line? What's next? A buffet on board? Their laughter rings out, blending with the rain like a dissonant symphony, countering the steadfast resolve flickering in Noah's gaze. Now, take note of the construction techniques. Imagine watching Noah as he juggles a saw in one hand, a hammer in the other, his face set like a determined dad trying to assemble a new IKEA desk. It's chaos, but beautifully orchestrated chaos. Measure twice, cut once, you think, recalling advice from your home improvement enthusiast friend. But does it apply to monumental structures meant to save humanity? And wouldn't you know it, just as uncertainty begins to spin around like a whirlwind, it dawns on you that this is much like those moments in life when you decide to pursue a new venture. Maybe it's that podcast you've been dreaming about, or the app that could change the world. Why would I ever think I could do this? Flashes through your mind. But then, wait, what is that? A feeling of inspiration? It's akin to the first time you finally decided to take the plunge and wear that mismatched outfit in public, braving strange looks but reveling in your own quirky rebellion. As night envelops the horizon, painting an ominous backdrop to Noah's labor of love, the North Star glimmers above, creating a juxtaposition of divine guidance against uneasy silence. And you can almost hear him call out, "Keep working, dear friends. Each peg and plank we secure not only builds this vessel, but our journey forward." Ah, how spirit is contagious. Much like the exuberance spilling over in a crowded coffee shop stuffed with random people who somehow share a love for overpriced lattes. The skepticism doesn't just fade, it transforms like the clouds rolling in. You witness how disbelief crystallizes into destiny. The arc transforms, leading to the incredible moment every believer anticipates, the Great Flood. And as it begins to rain, each thud of raindrop against the wooden vessel feels like an affirmation of faith. As torrents of rain and waves of water rise, remember this: the ark is more than wood and nails. It's a reminder of resilience, the unwavering courage of belief, and a testament to standing firm against the forces that mock. Even amidst a storm, a small glimmer of hope floats along, a reminder that what once seemed absurd can in fact become a lifeline. So, lull yourself into a calm, supportive slumber, carrying with you the wisdom that strength often arises not through the loudest voices, but in the quiet determination of embracing faith, even when life gets a little wet and wild. After all, as the waves roll on and the thunder crashes, remember, with every absurd setback, there lies the potential for something breathtakingly extraordinary. Rest peacefully, dear friends, as the ark sails on, and faith triumphs over folly, leading the way into sweet dreams of resilience and strength. Chapter 10. Abraham under the stars. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight, we find ourselves in a realm darker than the bottom of an expired yogurt container. A desolate, ancient landscape full of mystery and intrigue. This is where our story unfolds as we witness the very first moments of our beloved prophet Abraham. Yes, the one who had more faith than a contestant on a reality show hoping for a rose. But first, let's take a moment to set the mood. Picture yourself surrounded by nothing but stars, more numerous than your relatives at a wedding. Seriously, who needs backstory when you have the cosmos hanging overhead? So, settle in, pull up your blanket like a comforting burrito, and get cozy. Because we're about to dive deep into an extraordinary adventure. But only if you enjoy this, of course. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. We promise we won't take it personally if you don't. As you dim the lights and imagine the scene, let me ask you a few relatable questions, like, have you ever stood in a garden, feeling utterly confused while all your plants wilt under the hot sun, wondering if it was too late to switch to a cactus? Or have you ever looked up at the sky during a camping trip, debating whether the glittery array of stars was a sign of divine wisdom or just leftover fireworks from last summer? Now that we're all set, congratulations. You have just woken up in a momentous time, the ancient land of Mesopotamia, circa, let's say, a very long time ago, where every other person believes that the moon, stars, and sun are their personal deities. Imagine yourself wandering barefoot across arid land, feeling the dust tickle your toes, the very same feet that will one day traverse countless paths on their journey to enlightenment. Let's talk about the scenery for a moment. The sky blankets a canvas of twinkling stars that seem to wink at you, urging you to put on your philosophical thinking cap. Each star glistens like those pesky points of light on holiday cards, adding a mystical vibe to this already ethereal moment. Above, the moon hangs, round and proud, like an overbearing family member at a reunion, and yet, somehow, you instinctively know it's time to question its legitimacy as a deity. Now, if you've ever tried to convince your friends that piñatas are a genuine form of therapy, you know how it feels to face skepticism. That's exactly what young Abraham experiences as he gazes skyward, heart pounding, mind racing. What on earth, he must be thinking. How can I worship these transient so-called gods? Look at them. They're just glowing balls of gas, barely staying together. It's like following the latest diet fad. Here today, gone tomorrow. As you breathe in the cool night air, a mix of dryness and mystery, Abraham's heart fills with a yearning for the truth, a flicker of rebellion stirring within him. He's there, standing up against the cosmic trend of moon worship, like a fish deciding to climb a tree, thinking, wait a second, what if the truth is out there, beyond these flickering orbs? Oh, to be a fly on the wall in his mind. While onlookers worship celestial bodies, little do they know that Abraham is orchestrating a revolution of thought within his very soul. You can almost hear him mumbling, "Come on, people. Ever tried having a serious conversation with a star? They don't exactly offer advice, do they?" The sound of the wind begins to whisper through the night, carrying secrets that only the chosen can hear. Can you feel that gentle breeze? It's the universe nudging Abraham, like a librarian with a particularly insightful book. Ah, but trust me, this isn't just any librarian. It's the kind that envelops you in a warm hug while muttering, "Psst, I think you're looking for a greater truth." Let's not forget the grand irony as he rises above the skepticism around him. While everyone else is busy having a star-studded time, he's sitting there, pondering a creator with infinite wisdom. It's like watching a cat try to make friends with a vacuum cleaner. Awkward, hilarious, yet somehow compelling. Can you hear the laughter? Because somewhere out there, the heavens are giggling at the absurdity of humanity's distractions. And as the stars twinkle overhead, signaling their support for his burgeoning realization, he finally dares to whisper, "What if everything around me is simply a facade?" Each question echoes louder than the frames of a midnight snack raid gone wrong, building in intensity until it becomes an anthem of curiosity. Who truly is worthy of my devotion, if not the creator of these splendid heavens? As the darkness deepens and a hush cloaks the night, Abraham stands on the precipice of truth. He embodies that timeless notion to seek what glimmers between what is obvious and what is transcendent. Just like that half-eaten slice of pizza in your fridge, you know there's greatness inside if you could only get past the questionable toppings. And so, dear friends, allow Abraham's journey to fill your dreams tonight. Breathe gently as he gazes into the starry abyss, affirming that the universe holds the key to a truth far beyond the flares of false veneration. The simplicity of his resolve casts a warm glow on your thoughts, reminding you to seek truth, even if it means standing against popular opinion, because every once in a while, a little defiance is necessary for growth. So, as night drapes itself around you, let your own mind drift toward the greatness you aspire to discover. Remember the young man who dared to look up into the stars and think, "There's got to be more than just glitter." As you close your eyes and embrace tranquility, hold his spirit of inquiry close, and perhaps, just perhaps, when you wake tomorrow, you too might see the world with new eyes and an open heart. Rest peacefully, dear souls. Through questioning, reflection, and the embrace of truth, you may find the stars aligning right beneath your very soul. Chapter 11. Abraham's Temple of Truth. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight we step into a scene more spectacular than any magic show you might have caught on TV. Yes, we're diving deep into an ancient temple filled with drama, chaos, and an abundance of, wait for it, idols. Imagine the tension in that air. It's thicker than the humidity on a summer day when your air conditioner decides to take a vacation. But first, let's set the vibe. Dim your lights more than your smartphone screen when you're pretending to be asleep at midnight, and prepare to embark on a whimsical journey back to around 610 CE. Here, you'll be greeted by the curious and somewhat rebellious figure of our beloved prophet Abraham, a man with more faith than your average travel blogger on an epic quest for the best hummus. Picture yourself in this dimly lit temple. Its walls, though weathered with age and adorned with dusty carvings, still echo the whispers of long-gone worshippers. The air is thick with incense, mingling with the scent of ancient stone and forgotten dreams, as if every corner has a story yearning to be told. Can you smell it? That's the aroma of misguided devotion. Who knew idol worshipping could fill a room with such unique perfume? A scent that mixes the nostalgia of a flea market with the underlying sting of regret. Now, let me inquire. Have you ever felt the urge to shake things up, like a toddler at a quiet library? Or have you found yourself standing between two friends, realizing they were both utterly wrong, and contemplating how to intervene without causing a scene? Well, tonight, we'll witness Abraham in a similar predicament, but ramped up to an epic level. Congratulations, you've just woken up in a time when everyone, including the neighbor's pet donkey, believes that these lifeless idols hold power. Seriously, imagine a world where a piece of wood is seen as more divine than your grandma's secret recipe for chicken soup. Yes, folks, that's the reality facing our dear Abraham. As we tune into his thoughts, you might even hear Abraham muttering to himself, "I can't be the only one who thinks these idols look suspiciously like yesterday's lunch leftovers." Each idol surrounding him, more grotesque and convoluted than a toddler's abstract art project, stands as a glaring testament to humanity's misguided beliefs. But our friend Abraham? He's had enough of the nonsense. Armed with an axe sharper than your aunt's remarks during family gatherings, he prepares to unveil the truth. With a confident swing, he charges at the first idol. Whack! It shatters like glass under the weight of his conviction. The resounding crash echoes through the hall, bouncing off the sacred stones like a high five gone wrong. "Oops," you can almost hear him say, glancing around to gauge the reactions of any nearby worshippers. The startled expressions on the faces of bystanders resemble that awkward moment when you walk into a room and realize everyone was just discussing you. But Abraham, with a twinkle of mischief in his eye, continues his crusade of destruction. With each idol he strikes down, shards adorn the floor like confetti thrown at a party. Only, frankly, this isn't a party. It's a revelation. Each broken piece exposes the futile hope placed upon these lifeless forms, revealing their true nature as nothing more than ornaments. Now, lest you think Abraham is merely swinging an axe and letting chaos reign, there's method to his madness. The grand finale approaches, and he stands before the largest idol, a towering figure of despair that would make even a giant feel inadequate. Abraham pauses for dramatic effect, as if reenacting an over-the-top action scene. Time for the grand reveal, he must be thinking, ready to demonstrate that true divinity lies not in the wood or stone before him, but in the Creator who made the very universe they inhabit. With one decisive swing, he lifts the axe high, channeling all the comedic finesse of a classic hero moment. And, with a satisfied crash, it comes down upon the idol, reducing it to scrap, sending sparkles of splintered wood dancing like disturbed fireflies. The silence that follows could have easily been punctuated by the crowd gasping louder than a toddler when they realize they've lost their favorite toy. Standing among the rubble, satisfied yet bemused, Abraham glances at the remaining idol, the last bastion of false hope. "What'll it be, big guy?" he seems to say, arms crossed in a show of defiance. It's as though he's challenging it to prove its worth, reminiscent of a quiz show contestant waiting for their turn to ring in. As he contemplates his next move, it dawns on him. Why worship that which cannot even lift a finger to help?
The realization sinks into the atmosphere as profoundly as your last slice of cake. The choice before him is clearer than ever. With a spirit more light-hearted than a comedian at an open mic night, he decides to spare this last figure, not out of respect, but as an audience. You might just be the best entertainment I've had all week. As the remnants of shattered idols litter the floor, revealing their powerlessness, Abraham stands triumphant. This moment marks the dawn of a radical shift in belief, a leap from idol worship to pure devotion, like switching from your grandma's brisket recipe to a vegan diet overnight. So, dear friends, as you drift into slumber, let Abraham's adventure inspire you. Remember the audacity it takes to challenge the status quo and the courage to embrace truth. Allow the echoes of his laughter to guide your dreams tonight, reminding you that despite life's complexities, the essence of belief is ultimately within our own hearts rather than in idols of stone. Rest well, for when you awaken, may you tackle your own trials with the same fiery spirit, leaving behind what no longer serves you in the vibrant
tapestry of your existence.
Chapter 12. The Fiery Trial of Abraham.
Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight, picture this, a gathering so intense that it could rival your Aunt Fatima's family reunion. Only instead of loud debates over who makes the best baklava, we have a fiery pit prepared for none other than our friend Abraham. Can you feel the heat? It's like stepping into the kitchen while your mom is trying out a baking recipe that's gone terribly awry. Before we dive into this blazing spectacle, I invite you to settle in, dim the lights like you're sneaking a snack in the dark, and wrap yourself in your coziest blanket. Because what we're about to witness might just warm you up more than your heated debates with that neighbor over fence boundaries. But wait, have you ever found yourself in a situation where everyone around you is completely missing the point, like a group of misfit bowlers who somehow think they're at the Olympics? Ever wondered how it feels to stand stoically in the middle of a revolution, dodging metaphorical flying arrows and angry critiques while carrying your sister's embarrassing childhood photos? Well, tonight, we're finding out just that. Congratulations! You've just woken up in approximately 600 BCE amidst fiery anger thicker than your aunt's famous pudding. The townspeople are livid, and guess what? They've decided that Abraham is the ideal target for their rage. Imagine you're in this moment, surrounded by nervous onlookers and excited children, all chattering like they're waiting for a magician to pull a rabbit out of an empty hat. Picture this roaring fire, wood, hay, and even artifacts tossed in, scaling to heights hotter than a summer day at the beach. The flames dance like enthusiastic teenagers at a wedding, ready to consume anything in their path. And there stands Abraham, waiting not for his cue like a hero in a Shakespearean play, but for something more celestial. Just as the fire reaches what appears to be maximum ferocity, something incredible happens. Abraham steps forward with poise, as if gliding across the stage of life. Flames threaten to engulf him, but instead of panic, he embodies peace. A gentle wave of coolness flows around him, manifesting like a fan on full blast during July, a divine intervention that you wouldn't wish for at any other moment. If you could smell it, dear friends, you might catch the faint scent of jasmine mixed with an unexpected hint of popcorn. For while the flames crackle and the townspeople gasp in awe, it's almost as if the whole scene has turned into a bizarre culinary event. Did someone just microwave popcorn, you might wonder, as the fires snap and pop echo around you, reminding you more of a festive neighborhood cookout than a tragic trial. The townsfolk, their faces a tapestry of disbelief, eyes wide like that moment when you realize your dog just tore through your favorite pillow. They had expected a show of victory over this man of faith, but instead are treated to quite the spectacle. A peaceful Abraham emerging from the flames, unscathed. "Surprise," he might as well say, throwing his hands in the air like a game show contestant who just hit the jackpot. The aura around him cool as a gentle breeze, Abraham epitomizes unwavering trust. He seems to say, Why worry when you've got someone watching over you? It's almost comedic, isn't it? Picture the townspeople fumbling through their scrolls of grievances. How dare he be unharmed? We planned an epic execution, a Sizzle Abraham event. The realization sets in. They've not just employed the wrong approach, but they missed an entirely different script. Our friend Abraham feasts on their astonishment, his cool disposition serving to amplify the heat of their anger. Is this what I get for practicing faith? He muses to himself, shaking his head with a smile, contemplating how absurd and entertaining life can be when you trust in the unseen. So, let's reflect. What do we take from this scene of flames and faith? Amidst our own trials and tribulations, wouldn't it be grand to emerge unscathed from the flames of our concerns? Perhaps it's time to embrace a faith that shields us like a thick, cozy blanket on a chilly night, reminding us that even in our fiery trials, there exists a spark of divine protection. As the townspeople scatter, reminded of their folly, may you drift into a peaceful slumber, knowing that faith can spark more than divine protection. It can ignite a sense of purpose and trust, even when facing life's monstrous fire pits. Dream sweetly, and may your night be filled with the cooling calm of Abraham's unwavering spirit. Rest now, dear friends, and let the tale linger in your heart as you enter a night of serene dreams. Tomorrow, tackle your own trials with the same calm confidence, emerging from life's flames with laughter and peace as your companions. Chapter 13. The Submission on the Hill. Salam alaikum, dear friends. Tonight we're about to embark on a tale as intense as your last family dinner, minus the awkward uncle's commentary, of course. Imagine the drama, the suspense, the emotional freedom of becoming a live-action character straight out of a historical novel, all with a plot twist more miraculous than finding money in your old coat pocket. So, dim the lights like you're hiding from the world, grab your favorite pillow as if it's a secret treasure, and settle in. What will happen when a father and son take obedience to a divine command to a whole new level? Is it something like picking the last cookie at a family gathering, deliciously nerve-wracking, and sometimes a tad sticky? Is it perhaps closer to trying to find a parking spot during a holiday sale? Picture this. You're on a deserted hillside in ancient Arabia, surrounded by sand that feels as if it's tickling your feet. Have you ever thought about how it's possible to create a desert oasis without modern plumbing? How splendidly creative would it be to think of all those clever folks back then who fashioned entire communities, possibly out of pure sand castles? Congratulations, dear listener. You've just woken up in a pivotal moment, around 610 BCE, midway through a storyline that lays the very foundation of an uncompromising faith. In the distance, you can almost hear the whisper of an eternal promise, a confident assurance that even a fierce wind would be envious of. Now, let's set the stage. You're hiking up a hillside, likely after a camel ride that left you wishing for more than just a seatbelt. The sun is sizzling above, and you spot Abraham and his son Ishmael, poised in unwavering submission. A duo so tightly bonded that they almost make best friends look envious. What's an average bystander like you to think? Every step feels heavier as a mix of pride, fear, and divine expectation intertwines in the air like an overcooked kebab. What could they possibly be discussing, you ponder? Maybe they're chatting about the best ways to cook a lamb, or debating who takes the last piece of bread. Or perhaps they're sharing one of those intense laughs that only happens right before a dramatic moment unfolds, like a plot twist in a well-loved soap opera. As they reach the peak, you can see the brightness of the sky illuminate a single knife shimmering in the sunlight. Yes, folks, it's about to get real, and I mean cutting-edge real. Are your hearts racing? Imagine a llama trying to do a limbo. It's both comical and astonishing. But let's be honest, we all know this isn't going to end like a poorly scripted reality TV episode, where someone dramatically exits stage right. No, dear friends. Instead, we witness the kind of trial and faith that would put even the strongest among us to test. Abraham, the patriarch imbued with unwavering faith,
somehow knows the purpose is much
larger than this moment. And Ishmael, well, let's just call him the epitome of trust, a true son willing to fulfill what fate has written. Suddenly the sky darkens, as if to put on a Sam Smith-style dramatic backdrop. Abraham's thoughts swirl, waves of uncertainty wash over him. Who wouldn't second-guess a vision instructing them to sacrifice their beloved son? Maybe I need new glasses? He muses to himself, unsure if what he saw was real or if he just misplaced his morning coffee. And just as the chase reaches its peak, the tension so thick you could practically cut it with a knife, something extraordinary happens. With the blade poised at the edge of destiny, a stunning spectacle unfolds. Out of nowhere, yes, literally nowhere, a magnificent ram appears, appearing more like a fluffy cloud with horns than an ordinary creature. It's as though it's been waiting for this dramatic moment, backstage, ready to step into the spotlight. You can practically hear the collective sigh of relief echo through the hills. The ram's appearance not only seals this tense moment, but creates a circus-worthy twist that would have comedic timing even the greatest entertainers would envy. Well, guess that's a change in the script, Abraham thinks, a ghost of a smile crossing his lips. The relief? Oh, it's palpable. Abraham's heart swells with gratitude, and little Ishmael might even have a twinkle in his eye, because no kid ever wants to see their dad wielding a knife. Instead, he sees a ram that's about to turn the whole scenario into a feast worthy of a family gathering. Ever heard of an alfresco picnic suddenly transforming into an exquisite banquet? Talk about a life-and-death culinary twist. And so, we learn from this climactic scene on the desolate hillside. The essence of trust, sacrifice, and the sweetness of divine mercy can turn life's most intense trials into moments of transformative joy. Who knew that surrender could lead to such delightful deliverance? It's a lesson in laughter wrapped in the riddle of life, echoing through the ages. As we move through this emotional roller coaster, let's remember, in the tangled webs of our lives, there is often a ram waiting to save the day, an unexpected blessing ready to turn our sharpest crises into moments of jubilant celebration. As you sink deeper into your pillow tonight, may you find ultimate comfort knowing that sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith, a bit of laughter, and the steadfast love of a parent to overcome the sharpest of trials. Rest now, and may your dreams be filled with gentle whispers of divine mercy and the warmth of eternal love. Sleep tight, dear friends, sleep tight. Chapter 14. The Sandstone Beginnings. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Grab your pillows, settle into your cozy nooks, and prepare for a story that's as warm as a fresh-out-of-the-oven loaf of khubz. Tonight's tale is filled with more surprising twists than Aunt Fatima's famous baklava recipe. You might want to get comfortable because we're taking a journey back to a time when footwear was basically just your feet getting acquainted with hot sand. Let me tell you, it's not as fun as it sounds. Now, imagine finding yourself in the dry, sandy valley of Mecca around 610 CE. But, surprise, you're not just a passive observer. You've somehow transported yourself right into the heart of history, joining two iconic figures, Abraham and his son Ishmael. The stakes are high, but don't worry, no one's been asked to eat their shoes just yet. So many questions flit through your mind. How in the world does one even begin to build a house of worship when the only tools around are sticks and a particularly grumpy goat? Seriously, does the goat know how to pick 'em? And what about the materials, you ask? Sand, stone, or something softer like those actual sandals you should have packed? But here's the kicker. Do you think they had Home Depot back then? I can just picture Abraham asking, "Excuse me, do you have any sacred stones in aisle 3? Over in the distance, with the sun beaming down like Mother Nature's spotlight, you glance toward Abraham and Ishmael. They are standing next to each other, plotting the unimaginable, constructing the very foundation of the Kaaba, a project even the best architects would envy. Or maybe they'd run far away instead. Can you blame them? You'd think twice before entering a job site where you're working side by side with your dad, a little out of breath, and all out of sacred blueprints. Now, let's set the stage for you. The sand beneath your feet feels hot, almost pushy, like an overly enthusiastic street vendor trying to sell you something you really didn't ask for. As you watch them, there's a palpable tension in the air, the kind that exists at family gatherings when everyone is debating who's going to take the last piece of biryani. You know who you are. You can see the ardor in the eyes of father and son, a bond woven deeply with faith, determination, and just enough humor to lighten the mood. "Are you sure we're doing this right?" Ishmael asks, scratching his head and eyeing a pile of beautifully shaped stones that look suspiciously like they belong in someone's garden. "Do you think the neighbors are going to complain about the noise?" Abraham chuckles gently. "I think if we're making the first structure dedicated to one God, they might just forgive us." As they lay down each stone, remnants of sweat glistening under the sun, a comedic thought crosses your mind. What if Ishmael had suggested they construct a pizza shop instead? "Dad, imagine the possibilities. People could come here from miles away for the best flatbreads." The very thought of that sends a giggle through your mind, lightly disrupting the sacred moment unfolding. Now, the Kaaba begins to take shape. A modest, hollow structure, but the weight of the significance behind it is monumental. Picture this. It's not just a building. It's about to become the world's first stop for spiritual travelers, a magnetic center for worship. What a great entrepreneurial idea, right? However, the celestial architect's approval does come with a hefty price tag in the form of patience and unwavering faith. Two virtues that are far from easy, especially when your knees are in the sand and there's no Starbucks for a caffeine boost. With each stone that is laid, you can almost hear the earth whispering secrets to the wind. Can you feel the thrill of witnessing history in its infancy? Feel that tension ease out of your shoulders and let the cocoon of spirituality wrap around you, reminding you of purpose and connection. It's a reminder that every single one of us lays our own stones throughout life, adding to the grand design of our existence. "Okay, that looks good, but I think we need to make it a little more holy?" Ishmael suggests, his hands still dusted with sand. "Perhaps add a sacred flag or something. What about that old tunic?" Abraham nods, considering the fashion statement. "Definitely. A sacrificial tunic atop the foundation, distinctly stylish yet fabulously functional." Suddenly, the laughter between them turns serious, and the air becomes filled with a profound sense of order. Each stone placed is a reflection of their devotion, a promise that will echo through time, long after the sands have settled and the heat of the day has waned. As they contour the Kaaba's walls high in the blue skies, you feel a connection that transcends time. You realize that perhaps building something sacred isn't just a physical act. It's a testament to resilience, unity, and faith. The humor shared, the warmth of laughter during monumental tasks, is like a luscious topping on an otherwise bland bread, creating more than just a structure, but a heartwarming legacy. And thus, what begins as the laying of stones transforms into the building of a community, a focal point around which countless souls will turn for centuries, seeking their creator and a guidebook for existence. The promise of God felt in those initial stones resonates with you as you settle deeper into your plush pillow, absorbing the gravity of this moment, knowing that every act of devotion, no matter how small, can ripple through eternity. Tonight, as you drift into a tranquil slumber, may you find comfort in your own corner of sacred creation. Remember the lightheartedness of Ishmael and Abraham. May their laughter linger in your dreams. Let your own journey be stamped with joy, love, and unwavering faith as you continue building your own personal Kaaba in the sands of existence. Sleep well, dear friend. Sleep well. Chapter 15. The Well of Shadows. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Prepare for a tale more twisty than your aunt's infamous noodle salad at family gatherings. Tonight, We're diving into a story more dramatic than if Shakespeare had decided to write a soap opera set in ancient Egypt. Trust me, you'll want to hear how it all goes down. So, dim those lights, pull your blankets closer, and let's float away on a serene wave of sleepy stories. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever pondered what it must feel like to be thrust into an unexpected family drama? Not the reality TV kind, but something straight out of a historical epic. Imagine waking up in a world where your own brothers seem to have a vendetta against you. I mean, did they skip the sibling happiness class? Or, let's say you suddenly find yourself at the bottom of a well that feels like it could have served as the world's shadiest swimming pool, complete with echoes of your brothers arguing above. What are you thinking? Is it too late to volunteer for the family holiday gift exchange? Ah, cheers to family unity. As you're nestled at the near depths of despair, or at the very least of a well, can you even imagine the fragrance of the world above? The warm spices from dinner? Or perhaps the unmistakable scent of betrayal wafting down to you with the chill evening air? Congratulations! You've just woken up in the time of Joseph, right before his life becomes a prime example of how not to win Best Brother of the Year. The year? Let's call it around 1750 BCE. Historical dates are fuzzy, much like that old sweater you claim is in style. Let's set the scene, shall we? Picture a deep, shadowy well, the kind that seems to absorb light rather than reflect it. The air is damp, and every drip of water echoes like your heart skipping a beat for each concerning moment. You feel the cold earth against your back, and the shadows wrap around you like a heavy blanket, but not one you want on a chilly night. As if this weren't enough, you can hear whispers above. Those pesky brothers. What do you think we should do with them? One of them says. You're thinking, perhaps a nice picnic on Sunday? They chuckle. You're not convinced they'll take the high road. But here's a twist worthy of a Netflix drama. They suddenly decide to sell you. Yes, sell you to a passing caravan like you're the latest must-have gadget. What's next, you muse? Will I end up in the inventory of an Egyptian market? Freshly squeezed Joseph, just add pyramids. So here you are, soon to be strutting your stuff in the vibrant cities of Egypt, perhaps more glamorous than any marketplace you've ever known. You find yourself under the watchful eye of a man named Potiphar. He's got a reputation in the court, wealthy, influential, and let's just say he has quite the taste for fine linens and feng shui. Front row seat not included. Now, let's talk. Court life. Can you imagine the smells? Rich oils, fresh linens, and an overwhelming aroma of burnt vegetables from the midday feast? You're there, in grand halls filled with what seems to be more gold than a really blingy jewelry shop. But also, nope, not an ounce of privacy. At every corner, you feel like you've stepped into a live-action version of Survivor. You've got to keep your wits about you, especially when the high-stakes game of court politics is underway. And wouldn't you know it, our man Joseph soon discovers he has a knack for interpreting dreams, a skill he probably didn't put on his resume, let me tell you. One day, while scratching his head over whether to have pancakes or syrup with his breakfast, just kidding, he's approached by Pharaoh himself, who is less than amused by his own strange visions about cows and grains. Now, you might think, aha, a way out, a chance for glory. But hold your horses. What if Pharaoh wasn't so thrilled with the clarity of your translations? As Joseph confidently explains that years of famine are coming, famine, people, he's met with a mix of disbelief and intrigue. Kind of like when you tell your friends about that incredible pizza place, and they just refuse to believe it's as good as it sounds. But lo and behold, his interpretations are spot on, igniting Joseph's rise in the court. He becomes the prime minister, the second in command, which is basically like being promoted in the corporate world to director of all things awesome. Suddenly, he's not just an up-and-coming figure. He's on the fast lane to a cushy life. Yes, sir. Imagine the grandeur. The moment he walks into a banquet hall, and instead of thinking about hunger, he thinks about wealth and power. I was in a well,
and now I'm here gorging on pastries. What a turn of events. It's a comeback story wrapped in divine wisdom indeed. And as Joseph rises to power, he never forgets his humble beginnings. No neon signs or flashy titles for him. Nope. He keeps his faith intact. With every dream interpreted, with every corn harvest calculated, he kneels and remembers the weight of brotherhood, the trials faced in that dark well, and the laughter echoing through a distant past. As you settle deeper into sleep, let this story of resilience and faith lull you into dreams filled with adventures and lessons worth cherishing. Maybe reflect on your own shadows and wells, small or big, as they shape your journey. Remember, there's always a chance at redemption, even if you have to decode a pharaoh's dreams in the process. Until next time, dear friend, may your sleep be full of sweet victories and soft whispers of divine guidance,
Chapter 16. The Floating Basket. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Tonight, we embark on a wild ride down a river so iconic, it makes the Mona Lisa look like a doodle on a napkin. Yes, we're talking about the Nile, an ancient highway for more than just hippos and boats. But hold on to your pillows, because we're adding a twist more surprising than finding out your neighbor's cat doubles as a Boeing flight attendant. Have you ever wondered what it must feel like to take the literal plunge into life's great adventures? Picture this. One moment, you're nestled safely in a cozy home, and the next, you're a baby in a basket. Yep, that's right, a basket, floating down the Nile toward an uncertain fate. And can we just hit pause here? Imagine how a baby would react to that. Wait, what? No one told you this was the plan. We get it. It's enough to make even the most stoic of toddlers think twice about trusting their parents again. You might even be thinking, seriously, could this day get any more exciting? Tonight, we'll witness the tale of a young boy destined for greatness. No pressure, right? So, slide under your blankets, adjust your pillows like a pro, and let's dive into the riveting story of that tiny hero known as Moses. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its warm, golden rays upon the flowing waters, our story begins more dramatically than an overzealous movie promo. We find ourselves on the banks of the Nile, around the 14th century BCE. But first, can you hear the gentle lapping of the water against the basket, like an old friend whispering, "Everything's going to be all right." But what's this? The mother of our precious bundle, just a short while ago in her lovely home with her very own favorite tea set and a collection of adorable nursery rhymes, has put her faith in divine wisdom, or perhaps sheer desperation, to save her child from a rather unpleasant fate. You see, the Pharaoh had issued a rather crazy decree. All newborn boys of the Hebrews were to be thrown into the Nile. You know, a little bit on the extreme side. One might think, can we not have a subtle family meeting instead? So here you are, bundled up tighter than a hot dog in its bun. Your little heart races, while all around you, the beauty of the world unveils itself. Fluffy clouds that look curiously like sheep, reeds gently swaying, and the occasional splash promising serious excitement. You wonder, is this really how my story begins? This little basket, woven from bulrushes and pitch, floats lazily, drifting toward royalty. Talk about swimming upstream. As it approaches the palatial shores reminiscent of Instagram influencer posts, an array of palace guards, servants, and ever-faithful royal attendants bustle about, creating a backdrop more dramatic than last week's cliffhanger in your favorite soap opera. Now, let's pause for a moment. Picture living in a palace. One moment you're wondering, what's for Dinner? And the next it's, oh, just the usual feast with a side of confusion and a glimpse of destiny. Suddenly, fate intervenes. This floaty little bundle has made it to the foot of the palace, and in walk the pharaoh's daughter, fresh from an afternoon of pampering and hair conditioning rituals unavailable to the average Egyptian. Is there anything more absurd than a royal woman, after a day spent deciding the perfect shade of eyeliner, stumbling upon a basket that seems to have ripped off the latest adventurous baby trend? What's this? A baby? Floating? On my watch? She exclaims with a mix of surprise and joy, because when you're the daughter of a pharaoh, you just step into your dramatic protagonist role without question. As she lifts Moses from his makeshift wooden cradle, such joy radiates that it could power the entire palace. But little does she know, she's just been handed a plot twist bigger than any ancient Egyptian pyramid. Meanwhile, a little voice inside your head whispers, "Was I adopted by royalty? Can I negotiate my own dessert plans under the golden chandeliers?" Anyone else in this situation might be pondering how they got so lucky, while secretly wondering if their nursery goes with their new royal lifestyle. And what happens next? That magical moment unfolds. The pharaoh's daughter, dripping in jewels and cloaked in silk, decides that keeping you close is cooler than any royal pet. Imagine the royal banquet hall, the air thick with the aroma of roasted meats, fragrant spices, and the distinct hint of, "I'm going to have an existential crisis over appetizers." Your life trajectory takes off faster than the chariots racing outside. One moment you're a baby, precariously floating down a river. The next, you're being pampered like a VIP at a royal penthouse, giving the best bath scene of all time. It's a glow-up anyone would envy. You wonder about your biological family as if they're scripted characters waiting for their moment on screen. Are they out there? Did they plan the most cinematic of escapes, complete with spies and secret handshakes? I guess this means I'm going for the Oscar. I wonder if I get some ad revenue too. It's a surreal blend of adventure and divine intervention, all rolling by on the waves of destiny. And there goes a baby, about to grow up under royal wings. Because after all, who better to teach a future leader than a princess adorned in jewels and confidence? So, as you cozy deeper into your blankets, let this part of the saga cradle you to sleep. Cue the montage of a tiny heartbeat echoing through the Nile, guiding you into the dreams of courage, hope, and absurd twists that remind us life's unpredictable turns can lead us to the most glorious of places, even if those places have a bit of drama and flailing arms involved. Until next time, dear listeners, may your dreams carry you downstream with the same resilience and grace as our little buddy in the basket. Chapter 17. A Burning Bush and a Bumbling Prophet. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Now, at first glance, you might think we're about to dive into a tale that's a bit fiery, literally. But trust me, this isn't about some overzealous barbecue or a campfire gone wrong. No, tonight we're exploring a moment that could make even a casual summer evening feel like a small flicker in comparison. Picture this: a bush ablaze, so vibrant it could rival the crown jewels, and yet, somehow, it's all still standing. So dim the lights, crank up that fan, because who doesn't like a little cool breeze while getting comfy? Grab your pillows tight and prepare for a journey that's neither too hot nor too chilly, but just right, like a perfectly brewed cup of mint tea. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're holding an important announcement? Like when your favorite bakery runs out of donuts? Or being called to do something utterly daunting? What if your phone buzzed with a message saying, "You've just been appointed the head of a company you've never worked for. Good luck." With the sort of pressure that could turn anyone into a bucket of nerves, how would you react? Would you brave the challenge or simply Google escape plans? Let's hop into the time machine. You just woke up in 1300 BCE, in a location more remote than your last camping trip, where cell service is as non-existent as common sense in a requirementless fast food job. Spoilers, you've landed on the side of a mountain with the most outlandish job offer you can imagine. Oh yes, you're about to be called to serve as a messenger for none other than the God of heaven and earth. Don't worry though. It's a cushy work-from-home role, with lots of exciting travel plans. As the sun stretches lazily over the horizon, igniting the fluffy clouds in hues of pink and orange, you stumble across a sight fit for an epic screenplay. A bush, ablaze with fire, yet somehow untouched, as if the universe has given it the ultimate fire retardant award. You step closer, because who wouldn't be curious? Maybe it's like coming upon an ancient pop-up restaurant with an extreme food challenge sign. But just as you're considering the ramifications of culinary flames a la nature, you hear it. A voice, commanding yet oddly comforting, echoing off the stones like a singer performing their encore at a concert. Moses. Wait, what? Yes, folks, it's not just your average run-of-the-mill conversation. It's a divine proclamation, much grander than that text from your aunt reminding you about her ever-important bridge club meeting. The voice goes on, with all the authority that one could muster without sending anyone into an anxious, spiraling thought about an existential crisis. Moses, I've chosen you to lead my people out of Egypt. Ah, there it is. The big announcement. You can practically hear the audience in your head,
erupting in applause. But all you're doing is staring slack-jawed at this extraordinary shrub. Moses thinks, really? Can't it just be something simpler? Like a new hat, or maybe a lifetime supply of hummus? But no, it seems the universe has a knack for pushing us into roles that often feel a tad overwhelming. Or, let's be honest, like trying to run a marathon in flip-flops. Uncomfortable and potentially tragic. Let's talk about where we are. The early Islamic period. A time buzzing with names and stories that could rival any dramatic Netflix series. People are scrambling for power, searching for meaning, and certainly not consulting one another on office politics over coffee breaks. In stark contrast, here's Moses, who just wants to keep his sheep munching on their greenery without having to deal with the weight of divine errands. Imagine that first awkward conversation with God. Yeah, sorry about that bush. I didn't mean to interrupt your peace. You see, I was just minding my own business. You know, the kind of dialogue that makes you want to laugh and cry at the same time, while secretly plotting ways to excuse yourself from such lofty expectations. Moreover, can you feel Moses' nerves mounting? The unthinkable is unfolding before him. A job offer that comes with consequences. A prophecy that dances with grandeur and, let's not forget, a chance to tackle formidable foes. All he really wanted was a good day in the pastoral scene, a bit of sheep shearing perhaps, when suddenly he's facing his fate like an impromptu speech at a wedding. Let's not forget, people afield don't respond well to fire-breathing bush antics. Imagine the HR meeting that goes down when word gets out. So, about that flaming shrub back there, what's the story, Moses? You can already hear the whispers. Did he finally lose it? But amidst all this, there's a turning point, a revelation more dazzling than the latest Spotify chartbuster. In that moment, tinged with divine light and absurd glamour, Moses realizes that this isn't just a quirky chance to chat with fire, it's a stake in history. It's the pluck of courage meeting the call for action, reminding us all that our fears make the stories richer, even when they seem like juggling flaming torches while blindfolded. So as we float through this tale, let it cradle you to sleep with comfort and humor. Picture that surreal moment of destiny, a burning bush alive with purpose, and a desert shepherd scratching his head thinking, this is going to need a lot more focus than the last time I lost a sheep. May your dreams be filled with miraculous encounters and whimsical dialogues that make you chuckle even in your slumber. Until our next escapade, dear listeners, may you embrace your own burning bushes with the same delightful curiosity.
Chapter 18. Moses and the Pharaoh's Pomp. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Tonight, we're stepping into a scene more intense than your in-laws discussing your single life at a family gathering. Picture this, a grand palace packed with more gold than your average jewelry store during a sale. And there stands Moses, a shepherd turned reluctant revolutionary, locked in a battle of wills with none other than the Pharaoh. Trust me, this isn't your average sibling rivalry. It's a divine showdown for the ages. So, pause that Netflix binge, dim the lights, and grab a cozy blanket. because this tale has more twists than a roller coaster at an amusement park. And if you enjoy the narrative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Though, only if you genuinely enjoy it. No pressure. Imagine wandering into this monumental scenario. What would it be like to face off against a despot clad in gold chains, perhaps aiming to negotiate a vacation from his relentless empire building? How would you respond if tasked with delivering a message to a ruler who believed he was the sun incarnate? Or pictured yourself trying to convince your boss, a notoriously stubborn one, of the brilliance behind casual Fridays? Now, let's send you back in time. Congratulations! You've just woken up around 1300 BCE, right in front of the massive gates of Pharaoh's palace. As the sun peeks through the clouds, you're not alone. You've got Aaron's by your side, a brother, a faithful supporter, and, oh yes, a man who knows how to hold a staff. Let's set the scene, shall we? The air is thick with tension, almost as if it were competing with your aunt's famous cooking aroma wafting through the house, which is to say, overwhelming. The luxuries of the palace glint under the sun, but those diamonds and rubies have nothing on the storm brewing inside Moses' heart. He should know better than to waltz in there, right? As he stands before Pharaoh, perhaps ready to introduce himself like, "Hello, I'm Moses. Nice to meet you." The atmosphere shifts. You can hear a pin drop. Well, if someone had been foolish enough to drop one. The crowd, all oppressively quiet, eye Moses and Aaron with a mix of intrigue and indignation, akin to how folks watch a dramatic scene unfold in a soap opera, holding their breaths. Now, let's talk about that staff for a moment. Imagine it. A simple shepherd's instrument used for herding sheep, yet here, it's ready to outshine the entire royal ensemble. With a flick of his wrist, Moses turns the staff into a serpent. Yes, a massive, writhing serpent, almost like those overly dramatic moments in cartoons where things just go haywire. You can almost hear the collective gasp from the onlookers. It's as if Moses was saying, "Not only do I excel at guiding my flock, I also have a side gig as a magician." Can you imagine the Pharaoh's reaction? "Excuse me, is that my gold-laden throne vibrating, or
Is it just my ego?
But hold on, folks, it gets better. Moses stands there, channeling courage levels that even the most seasoned public speaker would envy, while the serpent slithers around, raising eyebrows higher than the pyramids outside the palace. This is not your average magic show. It's a divine intervention on display. "Surely you cannot compete with my sorcerers," Pharaoh retorts, probably adjusting his golden cufflinks, which, let's face it, may have taken longer to create than the Great Pyramid itself. "I've got a snake charm up my sleeve that will put any shepherd's tricks to shame." And just like that, the tension doubles down. The Pharaoh, surrounded by sorcerers with a flair for deception, instructs them to conjure their tricks as well. The room is thick with sweat and anticipation, similar to your gym after a particularly grueling session. Who knew oppression could turn into a magical showdown? Now, without spoiling too much, what happens next will knock your socks off. Serpents fly, there's grinning involved, and much more than just a simple duel of wits occurs. Amidst this grandiosity, it all spells a pivotal moment, one that'll topple an empire and mark the very essence of liberation. Moses' gumption, juxtaposed against Pharaoh's glitzy hubris, nudges the narrative from flickering tension to explosive potential. Picture the heavenly applause as history balances on the edge of what was once believed unshakable, from unyielding authority to trembling knees. As we drift through this episode, may you find solace in the humor that lies even in the crunch of history's seriousness. Picture Moses, shepherd turned hero, navigating the wild seas of royal tantrums, outsmarting gold-laden egos with a serpent as his trusty sidekick. Take this moment with you as you close your eyes, reflecting on the merging tides of strength, humor, and destiny that flow throughout this saga. Dream of serpents, royal palaces, and the audacity of speaking truth to power, and may your rest be as powerful as Moses' next move in a world that would witness miracles beyond imagination. Until we meet again in our next chapter, may your dreams be filled with moments where ordinary sparks extraordinary change. Chapter 19. The Trembling Tides of Miraculous Escape. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Tonight we find ourselves navigating a scene more dramatic than your average blockbuster film poster. A colossal wall of deep blue water is suspended on either side, creating a majestic, miraculous pathway across the seabed. Yes, you heard it right. It's like those moments when the universe conspires to let you through when you're late to a meeting, yet desperately don't want to hear your boss's, "Where have you been, Saga?" So grab your favorite pillow, turn off those distractions, unless your cat is auditioning for a Broadway role in the background, then by all means, let them steal the show. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if these tales strike a chord, or at least make you chuckle. A humble request, but only if you're genuinely entertained. As we prepare to embark on this profound and slightly comical journey, ponder this. What would you really have wanted in that moment? Would it be the courage to sprint like the wind, or perhaps the foresight to pack some snacks for the road? Ever wondered if the Israelites had an emergency survival kit on hand? You know, just in case walking through a divine aquatic tunnel was on their itinerary that day? Congratulations! You've just woken up around 1300 BCE with thrills echoing in the air as the sun gleams overhead. You find yourself among the fearless Israelites in the heart of a miraculous escape like no other. Oh, the horizon is a sight to behold. The sheer brilliance of the water towering ominously on both sides creates a scene that even Da Vinci would have envied. A masterpiece painted with the brush of divine intervention. Now, let's talk about the ambience. The air is thick with excitement and a hint of desperation. It's like being at a concert where the headliner is about to appear, but all you can think about is how you hope the venue's security isn't overzealous. Every heartbeat resonates with the urgency of freedom. That's right, folks. The Pharaoh's army, laden with armor and a fierce determination to recapture the Israelites, is hot on their trail. Imagine the sound of charging chariots. It's akin to an orchestra warming up, only this performance is anything but harmonious. "Keep moving," someone shouts, their voice slicing through the chaos. You and your fellow Israelites bolt forward, the golden sand beneath your feet giving way to the miraculous path. The walls of water stand as tall as a skyscraper, not to mention the swirling fishes that seem to wonder why in the world anyone would decide to walk this perilous route. Ever consider if the fishes were giving each other pep talks? Stay calm, they are probably just tourists. As you dash forward, you realize the fabric of time is bending. Past, present, future, all intermingling. Much like that discomforting feeling when you dig out an old sandwich you forgot in the back of your fridge. And boy, does that sandwich have stories to tell. The shouts of ancient warriors echo in the distance, and somewhere behind you, the scene unfolds like a complicated soap opera where everyone has a vendetta. "You will not escape us," the lead soldier yells, probably way too confident in his chariot driving skills. Yet, you can't help but think, "Buddy, have you seen our exit plan? It's a straight shot through miraculous water walls." With every frantic step, the confidence builds. The ground feels like it's shifting beneath, not just due to fear, but the undeniable thrill of liberation. Can you hear the knocking of anxious hearts beating in unison? It's a drum roll, paving the way for a legendary story that would be told for generations to come. The waters, oh, glorious waters, they shimmer brilliantly, gracefully embracing the chaos. Each drop of moisture seems to chant, "Run, run, don't look back." But let's be honest, who could resist a glance at those towering curtains of blue? You peek back just for a moment, and what do you see? The Pharaoh's grand army, stunned, watching their golden opportunity slipping, much like your last slice of pizza at a gathering. No one really wants to share, right? With every ounce of adrenaline coursing through your veins, you remind yourself that there's no looking back. Ahead lies freedom. Behind lingers bondage. Suddenly, your feet fly over the seabed, propelled by more than just fear. A fire ignites within, like the last slices of baklava at a family gathering. You simply cannot let that moment go. As you approach the final stretch, the water walls seem to whisper promises of a bright future, much like a wise old grandparent telling tales of victory over adversity. You can almost hear a voice calling, "Keep running, you are destined for greatness." Now, wouldn't that be the ultimate playlist to soundtrack your escape? And just like that, you burst forth from the water's embrace, tumbling onto dry land, panting and exhilarated all at once. Behind you, the last of that dazzling display begins to close, waves crashing like the final applause for a phenomenal performance. You made it. The Pharaoh's army, a mere shadow in the rear view, now reduced to a spectacle of disbelief echoing across the oppressed sands. You glance to your left and right, catching the eyes of your fellow Israelites, each equally disheveled but undeterred. Someone cracks a joke about the aquarium of freedom, eliciting laughter more infectious than a catchy tune. Ah, there it is. It's human nature, isn't it? Finding joy even amid absurdity, like admonishing out-of-tune karaoke in the comfort of home. May you carry this moment with you as you drift off to sleep. Reflect upon the audacity of hope, the laughter of the heart, even as chaos looms. May your dreams weave through these tales of miraculous escapes, urging you to always embrace laughter, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of liberation. Until next time, let your thoughts sail away on tides of courage and hilarity. Sweet dreams, my dear listeners, and may tomorrow bring its own miraculous adventures. Chapter 20. The Courage of David Against Goliath, where little rocks meet big problems. Salam alaikum, dear listeners. Tonight we're diving into an epic tale that's cooler than a cup of iced chai on a hot summer day. Picture this: a youthful boy, armed only with a humble sling and a single smooth stone, stepping up to face a giant clad in metal armor who is more intimidating than your in-laws during a holiday visit. Yes, my friends, tonight we explore the remarkable story of David and Goliath, a story that effortlessly fuses courage, divine faith, and just a touch of comic absurdity. Before we venture further, let's engage in some friendly banter, shall we? Have you ever found yourself standing next to someone who could easily double as a walking library, only to realize that you forgot your reading glasses? Or considered the time you faced a daunting line at a cafe, and in your nervousness, accidentally ordered a caramel macchiato with extra froth, please, but really just wanted a black coffee? Ah, the drama of everyday life. Now grab your favorite pillow, dim those lights, and maybe put on some soft music, with the caveat that if your neighbor's dog thinks it's auditioning for a symphony, well, that's just some background ambiance. And now, let me ask you this. Have you ever faced a problem that seemed insurmountable? Like spilling juice on a brand new shirt just minutes before a big meeting. Have you ever felt the weight of the world pressing down on your shoulders, knowing that all you had was a little faith, and maybe some cleverly hidden snacks in your pocket? Well, congratulations. You've just woken up around 1000 BCE, where the air is thick with anticipation, and the scent of the battlefield dances around you like a persistent fly at a summer picnic. You find yourself not in a faraway dream, but right here among the ancient Israelites, on the verge of a fabulous showdown between the little shepherd boy David and the looming giant Goliath. Picture this. Sunlight glints off the polished armor of Goliath, making him look like a mobile piece of medieval art that has never had to face a real laundry day. Let's set the stage here. The sight of Goliath, standing over 9 feet tall, is enough to make even the bravest warriors gulp harder than a fish out of water. Your fellow Israelites are crammed in together, faces as pale as if they just experienced a close encounter with a screaming toddler, bitterly muttering, "What have we gotten into?" Amidst this chaos, enter David, the kind of kid who could probably make a rock seem like a valuable treasure. Yes, armed with just his trusty sling, which, if we're honest, looks more like a slingshot from a yard sale than the warrior's tool of a legend. But here's the twist. David is brimming with an unwavering faith in God, the kind of confidence that makes you feel like you could conquer a mountain, or at least handle a surprise Zoom call with your boss. So, as the tension mounts and Goliath bellows threats like an angry rooster at dawn, you can't help but admire David's swagger. What's more amusing? Goliath's heavy armor looks like the perfect wardrobe choice for a medieval Caesar salad competition, yet he's still convinced that sheer size equates to victory. Ever wonder what Goliath thought when he first squeezed into that armor? It fits, right? No? Just a bit tight around the waist? In a moment that feels straight out of a sitcom, David makes his way to the battlefield without a hint of trepidation, calmly rationalizing, if a lion and a bear could be defeated by my not-so-glamorous skills, what's one giant? You chuckle, picturing David's inner dialogue. I wasn't planning on taking on Goliath today, but hey, it's all about the gram, right? Just a regular day. As David reaches Goliath, there's a collective gasp from the crowd, akin to gasps from your family when a fireworks show suddenly goes wrong. Goliath roars, "Am I a dog that you come at me with stones?" And you can't help but think, buddy, with that entire wardrobe, you're more like an ornate dog. Chill a little. With that, David, surrounding himself with the weight of the Almighty, claims his stance, flinging that small stone with grace akin to tossing a paper airplane on a breezy summer day. Everyone watches breathlessly. The silence in the air says it all. You could cut it with a spoon. The stone flies through the air, hitting Goliath squarely on the forehead. A moment later, the giant crumples to the ground with a thud that shakes the very earth, like your younger sibling falling off their bike and swearing it's nothing like riding in the Tour de France. In this uncanny moment, you can't help but chuckle while thinking, looks like Goliath forgot to check the mischievous nature of faith combined with a little rock flinging. David, now basking in the respect and awe of his people, makes it clear that faith and courage can triumph over seemingly insurmountable odds. What a reminder, dear friends. Sometimes it's not about fighting giants with swords, but about walking into battle with a heart full of belief, a quirk of destiny, and maybe a snack or two for good measure. As your eyelids grow heavy, let this miraculous tale remind you that your challenges, big or small, can be met with a little bit of faith and perhaps a trusty slingshot. You never know. Tomorrow might surprise you with its own giants to tackle. So drift off knowing that, like David faced Goliath, you too can summon the courage needed when life's challenges loom large. Sweet dreams, my dear listeners, and may you awaken tomorrow ready to face your own giants with a stone in one hand and faith in your heart. Until next time, may your nights be filled with the echoes of bravery, the whispers of past victories, and the promise that every challenge can lead to splendid triumphs.
Chapter 21.
Solomon's Sweet Temple, where bricks meet blazing brains. Salam alaikum, dear friends and adventurers of the evening. Tonight, we embark on a journey that's more lavish than a feast fit for a sultan, with an extravagant twist akin to a baking show gone awry. Imagine colossal pillars rising like sentinels, intricate carvings telling tales of epic battles, and the aroma of fresh-cut cedar wafting through the air. All while the construction crew argues about who left the scaffolding toolbox out in the rain. Yes, tonight we delve into the magnificent saga of King Solomon, overseeing the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. A temple so grand that even the local birds must have paused their tweeting to gawk in envy. Before we set our spirits loose on this monumental adventure, let's engage in a little humorous reflection. Have you ever tried assembling IKEA furniture and wondered if the instructions were written in a language only squirrels understand? Or perhaps you found yourself mid-task, covered in glue and glitter, realizing that crafting isn't really your forte. Fear not. Construction blunders also plagued our king and his dedicated team. Now, dim those lights, grab your favorite cushy blanket, and prepare yourself for a tale bursting with wonder, a hint of absurdity, and, dare I say, divine inspiration. As we dive deeper, I can't help but wonder, what would the ancient construction workers have felt as they chiseled away,
hoping they'd get the measurements right this time. No pressure, right? Or did Solomon ever think, while overseeing the intricate carvings, I could really use a nap right about now? Congratulations! You've just woken up in 950 BCE, the year when King Solomon is about to create the most magnificent architectural wonder. The air is alive with the sounds of hammers echoing, the scent of wet stone mingling with the earthy aroma of freshly cut wood, and eager workers bantering like old friends. You find yourself surrounded by an army of skilled artisans, each one more boastful than the last about their contributions to this glorious edifice. Let's take a moment to appreciate the visual spectacle before you. Towering above is the first temple, designed with pillars so grand that they look like they could be the front row seats at an ancient rock concert. If only we could have heard the sounds of applause, and maybe a few off-key tunes, as the craftsmen put their heart and soul into every carving, each more intricate than the last. One might even refer to it as extreme woodworking, with embellishments that would put modern-day woodworking shows to shame. Ever wondered what those public works meetings were like? Okay guys, let's make this pillar look ornate enough that the tourists hundreds of years from now will take selfies here. As you stroll through the construction site, the buzzing atmosphere bursts forth in a harmony of laughter and the occasional
Grumble. A worker trying to balance a massive stone on his shoulder exclaims, "If I drop this, I'll be more famous for this mistake than for finishing the temple." While another chimes in, pulling a face, "And here I thought we were building a shrine, and not a game of what falls first, the stone or my dignity." King Solomon himself, revered for his wisdom and fairness, moves through the crowd like the proverbial lion in the midst of a pride, his silver beard flowing behind him, dressed in rich finery that sparkles in the sun. You can almost hear the collective thoughts of the workers. Must be nice to be the king. I'll bet he doesn't even have to worry about splinters. The heartbeat of this project radiates energy. Each stone lovingly carved, each fresco, each intricate detail tells a story of faith and devotion. "Let's make it blindingly beautiful," one artisan suggests, almost convinced that the temple should reflect the very splendor of heaven itself. Meanwhile, another quips, "Right, as long as it doesn't require the kind of budgeting that might get me sent to, I don't know, jail of broken dreams?" As the sun reflects off the golden accents adorning the temple, you can't help but feel overwhelmed by this melding of divine aspiration and earthly craftsmanship. It's the ancient version of every DIY project gone right, only far more monumental. "I just hope we don't miss the deadline," a young apprentice whispers with half a grin, "or Solomon will want a word with our foreman." Not exactly something you want to catch. With every stone laid, with every flick of the skilled artisan's hands, something divine is born. You can feel the excitement in the air as the temple is set to become the ultimate sanctuary, a focal point for worship that would resonate through the ages. Imagine being part of history, a team of carpenters, stonemasons, and decorators, only to realize that your most significant challenge is trying to keep the temple's debut under wraps amid all the tavern gossip. Did you hear? The king is building something big, bigger than the Great Wall of China. Ah, the ancient rumor mill would have loved that one. As the temple takes shape, you realize the threads of human creativity and divine inspiration weave together here like a beautiful tapestry. You smile softly, awakening inside you the understanding that this is not just a building. It is a masterpiece, reflecting faith, dreams, and a touch of don't forget to wear a hard hat. So, as you feel your eyelids grow heavy and your surroundings begin to fade, let this extraordinary tale of Solomon and his temple remind you that within each of us lies the heart of a creator, ready to build our own dreams into reality. Drift off now, dear listeners, into a world where your ambitions, whether trivial or grand, are only a heartbeat away. And may you wake up tomorrow ready to lay the first stones of your own magnificent journey. Until next time, May the whispers of bygone eras inspire you as you build your own beautiful reality. Chapter 22. The Cradle of Miracles. Mary, Jesus, and a few unexpected words. Salam alaikum, dear friends and dreamers of the night. Tonight we drift into a tale more surprising than finding a chocolate chip cookie in your salad. Yes, that cookie that somehow found its way there. Imagine a serene setting so peaceful that even the whispering wind seems to hold its breath in anticipation. It's a world where even the daisies might lean in closer just to catch a glimpse of what's unfolding. Why, you may ask? Well, we're preparing to watch a miracle happen, one that involves a rather remarkable mother and her extraordinary son. Picture this. Mary, known for her unwavering faith and strong will, holds her newborn Jesus, cradling him against a backdrop that feels willowy with the scent of lilacs and purity. But let's pause for a moment. Have you ever tried to keep quiet in a library, only to cough as loudly as an elephant? Or perhaps found yourself trying to eat spaghetti without a single noodle escaping your grasp? The eternal struggle of motherhood and childhood has its comedic layers, something that Mary certainly could relate to. I mean, when you're raising a prophet while simultaneously dodging whispered accusations from a curious community, how do you find your zen? Now, dim those lights, allow the gentle embrace of a cozy blanket to wrap around you, and feel free to channel your inner Mary, because, the challenges of parenting don't seem to change with time. Ever wondered what was going through Mary's mind when she faced the neighbors' curious stares? Are they talking about me? Or is Jerry's new donkey still making a fuss? Imagine waking up in the year 610 CE. Congratulations. You've just landed in a time where sandals are the hottest fashion statement, and the gossip mill spins faster than market stalls at a bazaar. The world buzzes with anticipation, and you, my friend, are here to witness the spectacular chaos that brews whenever a divine moment interrupts the mundane rhythm of life. As evening descends on this remote setting, crickets begin to hum a soft lullaby, weaving a tranquil feeling that contrasts sharply with the whispers circling around Mary. She's seated in her modest home, the branches outside gently swaying, almost eavesdropping on the magical story about to unfold. Let's talk about the cradle, shall we? It's not just any cradle. It's one that's so cozy it could convince a sheep to ditch its woolly coat for a night in. With soft woven fibers and a gentle sway, it cradles baby Jesus as comfortably as a cupcake holds its sprinkles. Meanwhile, Mary gazes down at her son, a look of triumph mixing with a hint of disbelief. Can a mother ever truly brace herself for such a moment? And then, it happens. With the clarity and confidence of a toddler declaring, "Mine," over a toy, the infant Jesus breaks the silence. Indeed, I am the servant of Allah. I have come to guide you. Ah, yes. The sound of a newborn speaking words of prophecy may induce a few shocked gasps and perhaps even a dropped olive or two. All Mary can do is blink in astonishment, a mix of pride and that universal, "How did I end up here?" bewilderment. You can almost picture the dynamics of a neighborhood chat afterward, can't you? Mary's sisters peering over, raising their eyebrows, while one of them suggests, "So, should we create a Lion King-style melodrama for the next family gathering? Or maybe a musical?" Because when you have a child that speaks at such an early age, the neighborhood entertainment level just leveled up. The reaction from the community, though? Well, let's just say it's about as welcome as a cat at a dog show. Whispers rise like the heat from a desert sun. Accusations fly through air thicker than pomegranate syrup. Could a mother who conceives without human intervention really be deemed trustworthy? What of family lineage, and where's the logic? Isn't that as puzzling as trying to explain the concept of social media to a parrot? As Mary sits there, cradling the prophet, she must think, how did Noah handle the endless naysayers? Did he dash off a friendly note to the squirrels, urging them to pipe down? If only she had a crystal ball to see the extraordinary path awaiting her son, a path of challenges greater than finding a parking spot in a bustling market. But on this peaceful night, with the stars twinkling brighter than the finest diamonds, a revelation beams through the fog of communal skepticism. Baby Jesus sits up, speaking his truth with fervor, sending ripples of shock through all that would hear him. Rejoice, and heed the message of love, kindness, and virtue I bring. And as Mary looks down, her heart swells, and for a moment, the worries of the world fade into the background, like an old tune played softly on ancient lyres. This newborn, this icon of future tales, he will not just whisper, he will thunder. He will shatter the silence with messages of compassion, clarity, and controversy, presenting teachings destined to stir hearts across time. As you drift off, let the soothing rhythm of Mary's strength and her child's audacious proclamation cradle you into a gentle slumber. In a world of wonder and absurdity, may you find comfort in the profound simplicity of faith, love, and hope. Much like a mother learning to balance a speaking infant with the expectations of a curious society. Until next time, may you dream of miracles waiting to unveil themselves.
Chapter 23. The Healer Amongst Us. Jesus and the Miraculous. Salam alaikum, dear souls wandering through the realms of dreams. Tonight, we gently weave ourselves into a tapestry of miracles and compassion, where the air is lighter than a feather and the stories shine brighter than your auntie's sequined party dress. Imagine, if you will, an ancient land filled with bustling markets, earnest conversations, and, yes, the occasional mischievous goat trying to stage a breakout from its owner's grasp. Why, you might ask, do we find ourselves in such a whimsical spot? Well, grab your imaginary popcorn because we're about to witness a spectacle that is more jaw-dropping than the time your friend tried to grill a steak by setting it on top of a hot stone. Spoiler alert, the stone didn't play nice. Picture this, a dusty road under a sun that seems to shine brighter than all your high school trophies combined, with a gentle breeze providing the kind of relief you crave on a sweltering summer day. Jesus, a figure wrapped in layers of kindness and clarity, is on the move. Crowds gather like bees to honey, their eyes wide, their ears straining to catch the words that drip from his lips like honeyed dates. Ever found yourself in a crowd, just hoping someone would drop their phone so you could be the one to pick it up? Well, imagine being in a crowd with a healer whose reputation sparkles more than your mother-in-law's best china. But what do these people feel? Is that excitement bubbling in the air like the best fizzy drink you've ever tasted? You can almost hear the whispers. Did you hear? He can heal the sick, like with a wave of his hand. And he's got a knack for curing blindness faster than that one friend who always finds the remote control. As Jesus approaches, the murmurs swell to a crescendo, the anticipation thick enough to cut with a knife, or perhaps a stale piece of pita bread. Suddenly, a woman, frail and anxious, hobbles forward into the throng of people. It's like she's battling a trivia game with the universe. I just need to ask him, but seriously, what if he's busy? What if I trip over my own dhoti while trying to reach him? What if he sees my question marked in my confused expression? As if reading her mind, Jesus pauses, the sun spilling its golden warmth across the crowd. With the gentleness of a mother tucking in her child, he reaches out, touching the woman's shoulder. Picture that moment when your cat finally decides to sit on your lap after days of following you around, hoping for minimal effort for maximum cuddles. You're bursting with anticipation. And then, like the most anticipated finale of a magic show, it happens. You can almost hear the ta-da resounding through the air. The woman stands taller, her illness peeling away like excess skin from an overripe mango. A bright light dances in her eyes. It's as if the very essence of life has been rejuvenated. The crowd
Gasps in unison, a collective wow, drawing hearts together in awe. Excuse me, excuse me. A figure in the back, a bold seeker of attention, yells, "Can you hear me? What about blind Bart? Is he getting a miracle?" because he has been waiting longer than a kid in a candy store. Ah, the youthful impatience has no temporal bounds, does it? Jesus chuckles softly, his eyes twinkling with mirth. Blind Bart? Just a moment. He's next. Picture him standing there like your beloved neighborhood coffee guy announcing, "Next on the menu, your favorite latte." After what feels like a century of time spent gazing at the sun and possibly wondering if the shopkeeper will finally consider regular prices, Jesus is at Bart's side. The air crackles with expectancy, like static before a thunderstorm. "Bart, my friend," he says, "what do you want?" It's a question that stirs something primal within, opening the door to desires and hopes, like deciding whether you're in the mood for cake or pie, only much deeper, of course. "I want to see." Bart's voice is an echo of longing, vibrating through the crowd. In a world where visible challenges can be more cumbersome than carrying a sack of potatoes while balancing on a unicycle, this is a moment of pure poignancy. And, in an act of tenderness, Jesus places his hands over Bart's eyes, like a cozy blanket settling over one's shoulders on a chilly evening. A second passes, or an eternity, before Bart's eyes flutter open. The gasp from the crowd is audibly pronounced. It's as if 100 singers have harmonized on the same note. For there stands Bart, his eyes brilliantly alight as visions dance before him. "I can see," he exclaims, the joy bursting from him like a bottle of sparkling grape juice on a festive table. When you find that friend who finally understands your complex joke, that same spirit of joy ignites in the air. People sway in response, embodying pure elation. They clap, some break into victorious dance as if winning a match on their favorite game console while still avoiding the final boss. Yet, amidst the joy, one cannot help but notice the smile on Jesus' face. Charming as a puppy in a bow tie, he knows this isn't just his magic. No, dear listener, it is the divine will, the intertwining of hope, love, and extraordinary faith. As the sun begins its descent, dyeing the sky in soft hues, you can almost hear the musings of the crowd blending into the night. Is this all real? Did everyone see that? Am I dreaming? It's the kind of night where the laughter of the crowd feels as divine as the miracles unfolding before them. And as you rest your weary head, allow yourself to ponder the hearts that were changed that day, the eyes opened to the beauty of life, and the whispers of compassion that lingered on that dusty road. For every miracle has layers, rich with meaning, inviting you to seek understanding, to reach beyond the illusions Of your life, much like those community bazaars where everyone finds their slice of joy in unexpected places. So wrap yourself in this story, and may your dreams swirl with colors of hope and healing, much like the miracle that continues to inspire generations. Sleep well, dear dreamers, for tomorrow holds stories yet to be told. Until next time. Chapter 24. The Awakening in Hira. Salam alaikum, dear seekers of the serene. Welcome to a night that's as soothing as your favorite blanket on a rainy day and just as cozy as your grandmother's cookies. If she were an angel, that is. Tonight, we find ourselves whisked away to 610 CE, where the deserts of Arabia embrace the stillness of the cave of Hira, a place so quiet you might think it's run by introverts. Now, let's paint the scene. Have you ever tried to find a private moment in your bustling home? Imagine searching for solace, only to find your kids turning an innocent game of peekaboo into the World Series of hide and seek. What if you decided to escape into a cave with less traffic? That's exactly what our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was thinking. But let's be real. How does one even pick the right cave? Are there Yelp reviews for this kind of thing? Cave of Hira, 4.5 stars, fantastic ambiance but a bit chilly, great for long contemplations. So, imagine this. You've just woken up in 610 CE. Congratulations. Your smartphone has been replaced by a reliable stone tablet. No, not the ones you read about in school, but the actual rocks, making it harder to Instagram your every move. No coffee shops around either, so you'll have to deal with life on a detox level. Sans caffeine and hashtags. Here, in the shadowy stillness, all you have is your thoughts, much like that one friend who goes on about the meaning of life while you're just trying to enjoy a pizza. You can almost hear your stomach growling echoing off the cave walls, perhaps like a hungry bear looking for a late-night snack. Let's set the ambience of Hira. The air is thick with the weight of the universe's secrets, the scent of the earth infused with the ancient whispers of faith and destiny. It's so quiet that even the crickets have decided to clock out for the night, leaving just you and your thoughts. As you settle in, imagine the fluttering of wings. Enter the angel Gabriel. With a presence that radiates more brilliance than your neighbor's sparkly new disco ball, he appears, ready to deliver the first verses of the divine revelation that will change humanity forever. And let's be honest, if you stumbled upon an angel, the only rational response would be something like, "Can you take a selfie?" But our prophet, peace be upon him, was slightly more profound. "Read," the angel commands, and here's where it gets hilarious. Picture this. You, a fully grown adult who has somehow never had the pleasure of picking up a book, suddenly being ordered to read. Excuse me, how do you expect me to read when the only thing I flipped through is that dusty scroll of the family grocery list from last week? The angel, patient as ever, tries again. "Read." Our dear prophet, filled with an unshakable humility and perhaps slight bewilderment, replies, "I am not a reader." Because, nothing conveys confidence quite like admitting you've never done A, B, or the tree letter of the alphabet. But before our prophet can get too comfortable in his self-doubt, Gabriel embraces him tightly. And when I say tightly, I mean too close for comfort kind of tight. Maybe like those overbearing relatives at family gatherings who hug you until you're gasping for air. This is Gabriel's way of saying, "Listen, buddy, this is important." 3 times the command comes, and each time the atmosphere thickens with divine weight. Finally, the first verses of the Quran are revealed. "Read in the name of your Lord, who created." Imagine those words floating in the cave like golden dust, swirling with possibility. You can almost picture the universe holding its breath because, let's face it, what comes next will change the course of history as dramatically as your last attempt at baking easy muffins. And here's where irony strikes. A man who had never read is now entrusted with the most profound message for all humanity. Talk about a plot twist. He leaves the cave trembling, not just because of that snug, angelic bear hug, but because the implications of this moment are huge, larger than the dinner log of the last Arabic barbecue. As he rushes home, the moonlit path, illuminated by the stars, whispers secrets of history yet to unfold. He finds comfort in the arms of his wife, Khadijah, who wraps him up like a cozy burrito. Cover me," he exclaims, like a child scared of the dark. But in that moment, wrapped in love and care, he finds the courage needed for the monumental task ahead. What a wild ride it is! From a cave in Arabia to leading a new community built on compassion and guidance, each revelation strengthens his heart, reminding him that, despite the whispers of doubt, he is not alone. As the echoes of that sacred night linger in the air, remember this: every story has layers, much like a baklava, but with a good dose of laughter to keep it light. And so, as you drift into the glow of dreams, may you feel the gentle whispers of history wrapping around you like a warm blanket, guiding you to yet another awakening, one that searches for truth and finds hope in every sunset and dawn. Rest well, dear dreamers. Tomorrow awaits with more stories to share. Until then. Chapter 25. The Great Migration. Salam alaikum, dear fellow dreamers. Grab your travel pillows and settle in, because tonight we're embarking on a journey that's bumpier than a cat on a roller coaster, and more heartwarming than a warm cup of cocoa on a cold winter night. We're traveling back to 622 CE, an era not marked by the latest smartphone or cozy SUV, but by sand, perseverance, and a few more goats than you might anticipate. Imagine this. You've just woken up in a sun-drenched desert landscape, the sun glaring down as if trying to give you a friendly nudge, saying, "Hey buddy, wake up. This is your reality now." The wind blows, stirring up the dusty echoes of ancient cities. Ever tried to open a bag of chips in a quiet room? Now, add dramatic music to that moment. That's the kind of stillness we're working with here. But let's get to the heart of the matter. You're part of a weary group of early Muslims making the tough, life-changing migration known as hijrah. You're packing up your dreams and hopes and leaving behind the suffocating chaos of Mecca, a city that, let's be honest, is a lot more intense than a surprise family reunion with relatives who live off Uncle Mo's famous kebabs. As the sun sets, painting the sky in colors only an artist dreaming in the Middle Ages could replicate, your group gathers. You huddle together, a group of believers brimming with courage. You can almost feel the atmosphere buzzing like an over-caffeinated beehive. "Did you bring the dates?" asks Fatima, whose concern for snack logistics could rival a parent preparing for a road trip. "Of course I brought dates, and a camel bumper sticker for the journey," replies Ali, ever the jokester. Now, let's set the stage as you prepare for the rough and tumble ride of your life, the hijrah. Picture this. You've donned your loose-fitting robes, which, just like that one pair of sweatpants we all wish we could wear daily, they offer comfort even if they have the elegance of an unmade bed. You glance around at your companions, from the devoted followers to the curious onlookers. It's as if you're part of a reality show called Desert Survivors, the first Islamic edition, where the players are determined to seek a new life in Medina, which at this point seems to be the hottest new destination. And no, not that type of hot like your ex-boyfriend. More like welcoming arms and fewer complete strangers trying to throw stones at your head. As you set off, the rhythmic steps of your camels create a soundtrack almost too perfect to be true. It's like an ancient tribal beat, only with sand and a little less actual rhythm. The path stretches ahead of you, winding like a long noodle waiting to be slurped. Have you ever tried to be patient while waiting for your pasta to cook? Yes, much like that, except in this case, it's existential waiting. The journey takes a toll. You navigate mountains and valleys, exchanging playful banter that's peppered with moments of seriousness. "If I see one more cactus, I might just start talking to it," you muse. A snicker escapes your lips as you imagine starting a plant therapy group in the middle of the Arabian desert. Then, an adventure strikes. You stumble upon a small oasis where water is as precious as that last piece of chocolate cake hidden in the back of the fridge. A collective sigh of relief washes over everyone. Remember that scene when everyone's just waiting for the kettle to boil? Well, now imagine that, but with a much higher stake, life and hydration. After hours that feel like days, trust me, you might find yourself questioning your decisions, but hey, weren't you the one who wanted to experience the great outdoors? You finally reach Medina. As you walk into the city, it feels like stepping into the pages of a beloved storybook. You're met with the warm smiles of welcoming families and unfamiliar voices singing praises that rise as effortlessly as the fragrant smoke from a barbecue pit. "I told you we'd make it," cheers Amina, pulling you into a hug. "And look, they seem to have actual soup kitchens." Do you hear that faint echo? That's the sound of 1,000 jugs of water being filled as gratitude flows freely in this new community. The sense of belonging wraps around you like a cozy shawl. And soon, laughter fills the air as you and your companions are introduced to the joys of communal life, a stark contrast to the isolation of relentless pursuit back in Mecca. You witness the birth of an organized, just, and egalitarian community, one where goods are shared and thresholds of equality are set, just like a refreshing breeze that cools down a hot afternoon.
Men and women work side by side, and friendships blossom faster than a desert flower after a rare rain shower. There's a sense of togetherness mingling with joy, and let's be real, it's as if you've all decided to throw a continuous feast that includes storytelling, companionship, and the occasional game of who can tell the worst joke. As the days blend into each other, you recognize that this migration wasn't just a physical journey, but a spiritual one too. You step into a new role, fostering understanding, compassion, and community. You're not merely escaping persecution, you're rebuilding, brick by brick, laugh by laugh, and meal by meal, something beautiful. This moment in history is more than a chapter. It's a prologue to a rich saga that encourages every soul to seek knowledge, compassion, and justice. For everyone involved, it's a journey that would echo through time, paving the path for a means of cohesion that transcends even the harshest times. And there you are, as the stars twinkle brightly overhead like twinkling fairy lights at an enchanting party. The warmth of Medina envelops you, just like the camaraderie you found among these brave souls who dared to embark
On the greatest adventure of all, a quest for their identity and spirit in the pursuit of a better life. What a journey it has been to this point. They say every journey begins with a single step, but we just took a whole lot more. And who wouldn't want to do it again? So settle in, dear dreamers, as we glide into the next chapter of this continuing tale, where new challenges and divine revelations await. Sweet dreams, and may your hearts always find that oasis of belonging. Now that is a story worth dreaming about. As we drift toward the end of tonight's journey, take a moment to look back at everything humanity has stumbled through. The trials, the tests, the confusion, and even the unintentionally hilarious moments sprinkled across history. From the trembling awe of Adam's first breath to the fiery courage of Abraham, from Noah hammering away while everyone laughed, to the prophets who walked through cities drowning in shadows and doubt. Every scene whispers a reminder of how difficult, beautiful, and wonderfully strange life has always been. Yet, through every hardship, people found resilience. They endured storms made of water, storms made of pride, storms made of fear. They faced loneliness, failure, temptation, and entire communities standing against them. And still, somehow, they pressed forward. They carried faith like a lantern in the dark, guiding generations who would never meet them. Their perseverance carved the path that later souls would walk, step by step, story by story. And tonight, as we reflect on their struggles, we're gently reminded of something simple but profound. How fortunate we are. We live in a world with soft beds, warm lights, clean water, and the ability to close our eyes without fearing the wilderness outside. We have comforts and safety that ancient people could never have imagined. Let that gratitude settle quietly into your chest, warm and steady. So now, breathe a little deeper. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the long, winding tapestry of human history fade gently into the background. You've walked far enough for one night. May peace wrap around you like a blanket. May gratitude soften the edges of your thoughts. And may sleep come to you slowly, silently, like dawn spreading across a still horizon. Good night, dear listener. Rest well.